Welcome. Liverpool 12 Man Show is here and live and direct. We are ready to rock and roll. I bet my microphone sounds a little bit different. So I'm going to take it to the professional mic and get you set up here right and correct. Big up to everyone joining us, whether it is live or whether you're watching this on the replay. Greetings and salutations, because it is a nice little Sunday. For most, possibly ranging in on a Monday morning, but all the same, it is Sunday, whether it's bright and early for you on Sunday or middle of the day or if not, end of the day. Good show lined up for today. I might be solo today. I did put out a Liverbird calling card or Liverbird shout out for some panelists, so hopefully some will join us, but if not, you've got me solo, and I am prepared to listen and hear what you have to say, because I've heard a lot of what my fellow content creators have had to say lately, and it has been definitely very interesting. I've seen what the pundits have to say as well on our Reds. Are we back? Is the big thing that they're trying to say. So Reds, let's deal with it straight away, so we're not dancing around it for like 90 minutes. Are Liverpool back? And I'll give you the spoiler alert. No, we are not back. Not yet. One game definitely is against a very good Villa team, against an informed Villa team, absolutely. But not off one win am I going to say we're back. Not off one clean sheet, which is huge, am I going to say we're back. Not off one night where we finally picked the right players for the most part, will I say that we're back. It's not how this works at Liverpool, and not at least I see it. Our bar is higher than that. I'm not going to jump on the we're back bandwagon, because I know that there are some content creators, a lot of pundits out there too, asking the question. Some are saying yes, some are saying no, some are in the middle, trying to give a political answer. But some channels ran with, 5 minutes, ran with that title 5 minutes after full time. And I'm not just going to sit here and join some of my colleagues or some of my online fan channels, some of the Twitter hype or X hype merchants, you can call it that. Shout out to Norm, big up Norm. But it's something where you listen to a lot of what's being said about, are we back, or is it back? Are we back? And it's one of the more concerning things about this is that the fact that we're even asking this question. We're the champions from last year. We have a team that's been arguably upgraded by bringing in talent to the team that won the league last year. We have the same coach. He has a modified approach to it. I just think that you could easily get swept up by the hype and find yourself saying, we're back, because you want to say it. I want to say it. I'm sure all the people in the chat want to say it. I'm sure people that watch this later on are going to say the same. You want to say it. Not everyone. We have our trolls, I'm sure, but and our rivals. But we want to say we're back. We want to say we're going for the title charge. We want to say Slot Ball's alive. But listen to me carefully. That 2-0 victory over Villa was needed. It was needed. It was necessary. Because if we had lost that game, we would have honestly been pretty much out of the running for this title with all hopes. We're hanging on a slimmer of a hope right now, but we're still capable of saying that we're within striking distance of maybe being in contention. But why I say it was necessary, why I say it was needed, because it was healing. It was reassuring to see a team pick itself up, and play like they meant it. To pick themselves up and show proper due to their fans who have somewhat taken a lot of flack or a lot of the pain and suffering of knowing that this team can achieve more. So I think it was reassuring. It was more like Liverpool football, but it was not a return to peak Liverpool. It was a step toward normality, maybe. It was a step toward control. It was a step towards being recognizable again. Let's call it that. Being recognizable. But being recognizable and being back are two completely different things. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this is because Slot finally listened. He heard some of us. He heard some of us saying the loud part, the obvious part, very loudly, in that certain players needed to be benched and certain players needed to play. The players heard us. They stepped it up. We can all keep lumping the blame on Slot, which he does deserve his share of, but the players got to step it up too. So they finally executed. Bravo. One game. Anfield finally sounded like Anfield again because the players, obviously the coach giving them the scheme, but the players finally played at a level that was worthy of Anfield being able to breathe and enjoy the game. That combination is what Liverpool need if we need to go anywhere in this campaign. If we're going to make November the month we actually turn the page or turns the corner, however you want to reference it, then it has to happen now. Because we can't allow for more space to separate us from the pack. Because this team is the same team that just went through 4 straight Premier League defeats. Because this team is the team that just got bounced from a cup, from the League Cup by Crystal Palace. And we looked second best in that game. Because this same team has been leaking goals, playing disjointed football, and experimenting maybe a little bit too much for some of our comforts. One win, even a well-earned, well-executed one, I get it, at Frankfurt, doesn't erase a month of poor form. What I saw against Villa was something I've been begging for. Slot finally tuned in maybe to our channel, heard what we had to say, and said, enough of the experiments, let's go back to basics. Let me go back to the pieces that actually worked. He put Robbo in. I've been calling that from the gate. And I do remember the content creators out there, I'm not going to mention them by names, but I do remember the content creators. I do remember, I don't speak one-on-one with the pundits, but the content creators out there, whether they are rival content creators or especially the content creators that are in our community, I remember telling them that Robbo needs to play. Robbo is a return to basics. Got a lot of pushback too from that, a lot of viral, venomous pushback for even considering, oh, you're too much of a football romantic. Oh, you don't want to ever change. Sometimes you gotta let things go. It's not about that. It was just more about the fact that Robbo is going to bring that sense of calmness to that back line for the moment. Eventually, Kirkes will be the piece. Eventually, Kirkes will be the successor. He's got to learn, if anything, what it means and takes to play Liverpool. He's got to learn and figure out what it takes to play with legendary players like Virgil van Dijk. He's going to have to learn and figure out how to eventually take all the little bits of jewels and blessings he can learn from Robbo, who is arguably one of the best left backs of the Premier League era, and start to incorporate it into his game so he can have calmness, no complacency, on the ball. A real asserted understanding of where spacing has to be and what his team likes to do around him. We brought back McAllister. McAllister has gotten a lot of flack, and I will openly admit McAllister has had certainly room to be critical of. He has been out of form. His fitness has been questionable. We all know that he was going through a groin injury that he was trying to work his way back from. He's like a main piece of one of the best international teams in the world, being Argentina. He is part of the best club, I would say. Obviously, I'm biased in the world in Liverpool. And Macca hasn't been that same Macca from before. He's looked frustrated. He's looked out of sync. But he's going to get it back. And this game this past weekend was maybe just a glimmer of it. He's got to build from that. I'd even go as far as there were some fellow content creators out there that there's some fellow content creators out there that just don't really appreciate Gravy for what he is. Let's be honest. There are some fellow content creators out there that will give him props and give him his due, saying, "Oh, he's great at this, or he's great, or he's he's one of the best in the league." La da 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 da. Say all these things, but yet they continue to say, "But he's not a DM." Yet in the DM roles where he's garnered all that praise that people are talking about. What's interesting is I've heard so many people saying he needs to be replaced by this player and by that player, by this player and by that player. And some even said that he just doesn't that we should just move on. Gravenberch should be dropped from the team. I've heard that wild take. This team is different when Grav plays in it. This team is different settings when Gravenberch plays in our 11. Then you even move on to Szoboszlai, who arguably is our best player this year. Our fan base, for the most part, I'd say there are those of us in the chat. I know because I see the names being, I see you guys talking in the chat. There are some names in the chat that have been about that Dom life for a hot minute. Let's put it that way. You definitely have noticed his boss settings. But there are some of our fan base that wanted to drive him to the airport to get him off our team last year, especially. And going into this year, they're loud and they're screaming. I don't even know why he's still here. But there are some of us, especially the ones that go to the game. I know Norm goes to the games and stuff. There are those of us that can recognize game, can understand the intricacies and the things that really make a difference, and why certain players, despite not getting the flashy GA, can say they're really putting in work. They're really making contributions. I even go as far as to say Connor Bradley played well yesterday. More secure, more defined, more engaged, more in tune with what he had to do defensively and offensively. We had a defensive line that actually looked connected. And when you look at that back line, it is a return to basics, is what a lot of us have been calling for. It was a return to components that brought some real comfortable feelings for not only us as fans, but I believe it brought some real comfortable settings for the players in their roles. It brought some real comfortable settings to know that you can trust the player that's on your left or to your right because you've played with them for umpteen games. Again, Frimpong, obviously, he's injured. Kirk has, I know he's been we already nominated him for Scapegoat FC this year, or this month for October. So we get that. But eventually those components will be the components that we move forward with. I'm hoping that Arne can figure out a way to implement them right and correctly so that they aren't trying to do roles that don't suit their talents. But we looked like a good back line. That's all I've been asking for. Bring back the basics. Bring back that trust. Bring back that real belief that we've got something that we can kind of breathe out on. And this is important. Anfield stood up. It sounded like Anfield again. There was no, obviously, again, I don't hold anything against the people that left Anfield when we were getting defeated the way we were against Crystal Palace. The game before that, Norm can tell us best, but I mean, the game before this, I think it was the game before the last home game before this, or maybe even the home game, not Crystal Palace, but the previous home game before that, and other home games. I've heard that Anfield sounded like quiet in the likes. Maybe that's because, you know, we haven't had any real convincing from start to finish type runs in this campaign so far. But the supporters are always going to get your backs, players. That's the most part. The real supporters are, at least. You have your fickle fans. You'll have your fans that you're welcome to have critiques and criticisms and opinions, of course. But you're going to have some that are going to jump ship quick. They got behind the manager yesterday at 0-0. That matters. That's what real support sounds like. That's what real support's supposed to be like. But here again is why I'm saying we're not back. Good teams don't just win once. They repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. W, cool. Try it again. W, cool. Try it again. Good teams don't keep just one clean sheet. They make a habit out of it. The best way not to lose is to keep a clean sheet. Can't lose if you don't get scored on. And most of all, because I know we had a lot of, again, pundits and the likes and critics out there amongst us. Good teams don't just outrage the critics. They silence them over weeks, not one Saturday. So we're going to enjoy it. We're going to give praise to the players for a good outing. Of course, I think you should. Don't get overhyped or, don't go overboard with trying to lump on praise that, to compensate for all the bad turnouts that we've had lately. We're going to give credit to Slot for going back to the basics, as I spoke on earlier. But we're not going to lie to ourselves, people. I'm not going to lie. I'm at least not going to lie to you. We got Real Madrid on Tuesday. Manchester City on Sunday. If you're telling me we're back, I'm telling you prove it with W's on both of those occasions. That's how I'm looking at it. You want me to say we're back? Prove it to me by getting W's on our Champions League game and when we go to Etihad. And then I'll be like, yeah, okay, maybe we're back. Maybe we've figured this out. Maybe we've turned this corner. But I'm not going to say we're back until we're actually back. But, all right, so shout out, Norm. I said already. Dustin, I said, legend like Dustin. Big up. I'll answer. I'm going to start your question. I'll get to it in 1 second. Let me just say shout outs to people that are with us. Dustin. Hi, Laura. Big up to you. Hi, Laura, of course, representing the Germany. Big up to Red Armchair Supporter as well. Of course. Anybody else in the chat that we got to say a hello to? Lisa's been talking, and so if you say what's up or whatever, it's cool. I mean, I'll try my best to make sure I see it and respond to it. But let's see. Dustin's asking, what's your opinion on reverting back to last season's tactics, including benching Verts? Ooh. I do have a segment today on that, slightly on that, but I could probably go more in depth into the Verts thing tomorrow. But you're right. I was not happy to see Verts benched. I get that Verts is going to be it's not a good look to be benched. However, I will say this. Just looking at it from my own perspective, at least I'm looking into it from an angle that sometimes, how I like to look into things, angles that some people don't necessarily want to or don't look at at all. But I've made the declaration that I believe that we're going to make a very big push in the Champions League. I've gone as far as to say that I believe that Verts could be the player that wins us the Champions League this year. I said it early, and I'm going to stick by it. And because of the way that the Champions League is set up, the way the teams that you're playing play football more so than what we see in the Premier League, which is, the set piece strategy merchants. Because Verts did not play in this game, he got some minutes. He did get some minutes. I believe he was our only sub really in this game, right? But because he got some minutes, it makes me say, okay, that's someone trying to make sure that he gets some type of a run in, so that you don't want to get stiff. I don't want to say pause or not, but you don't want to get you want to get a good run out there, and whether it's 15, 20 minutes or whatever, at least it's a run. Get to some moving around. I think that Verts will start against Real Madrid. I'm making before other people try to take that take, and I get left in the dust by trying to be the first to say it. I think Florian Verts starts against Real Madrid. And not only do I think he starts against Real Madrid, I think that could be his coming out party. I know that some might say Frankfurt was, considering he had 2 assists in that game. He didn't get a goal, but he got 2 assists in that game. Probably could have had a goal if Salah had passed it to him. But I think that Florian Verts' opportunity for his coming out party is to have it at Anfield. It's always best to have your parties at home. And because you got all your friends and family around you. And I think that that's going to be his best opportunity to do so. It's going to be a big platform for him to have to embark on, and it's going to be really good. Let me see, what else are you saying? And I will actually, you know what? I'm Dustin. I'm gonna start your question because I have a segment. It's a little bit later on, so I'm gonna go through some of the steps here. But what I listed in the description for today's show. But I will address your question. I address it actually in my segment that I have coming up. They're saying, but Wirtz was never, nor will he ever be a midfielder that you use to battle duels or lead the gegenpress against opponents. And he thinks the only one who understands this. Oh, and he's asking, is he the only one that understands this, being Hylor? And so why use him in that way? I think that Wirtz can press. I don't think he's like too, because he did press for Leverkusen. He did play defense. I know that it's a little bit more physical of a game in England than it is in Germany. However, they're not pushovers in Germany either. But I'll get a little bit more into it. I wanted to get into knocking out some ratings real quick for that game, and then like get into some other takes as well for you guys, because it's going to be a good show today. So let's just talk about some football here, because on the pitch, this was the closest we've looked to a slot side that actually represented what Liverpool are good at, and it's somewhat going back to what Dustin and even Hylor was mentioning as well. We got back to basics. We played a little bit more like we did last year. Because this year, one thing I've noticed is our counter press has been vacant. It has been missing. But I'll save that for my 3 stars. Our scoreline first, Liverpool 2, Aston Villa 0. Obviously, we all know that. Goals from Mohamed Salah. That is going to be, let me bring this up too, because this is big. Oh, I don't know if I have that one. Let me bring this up. But it is a big accomplishment for Mohamed Salah. Something that we all have to recognize, because the guy just keeps on breaking records. I mean, it's an absolute incredible accomplishment that this guy just continues to make happen each and every time. Let me see what I had a graphic for it. Trying to make sure I can show you the graphic. Yep. I'll just use this graphic for you guys. But 250 scoring opportunities he's had, and goals he's gotten for Liverpool, and that is a absolutely incredible feat. We're looking at Liverpool's all-time top goal scorers on this list, and he already was in 3rd place. But being that he's going to have the rest of this year and maybe even the rest of next year, who knows? Some think that he might be out next year. Some think that he might see out his contract. Some, I don't think most of us think that he's going to extend his contract beyond anything else with Liverpool after this contract is up. But who knows? Maybe he does, just so that we can, get some money from Saudi Arabian club or something like that. All the same, he's only got Roger Hunt and Ian Rush. Now, Ian Rush, he is not catching. He is not catching Ian Rush. Let's not get it twisted. But Roger Hunt, he could be the 2nd all-time top goal scorer for Liverpool if he continues his run. If he continues his normal run of getting 20-plus goals in a season. It's going to be difficult, but it's possible. Ryan Gravenberch, by the way, absolutely fantastic goal. Some might say it was lucky. It was fortuitous because maybe the keeper might have had it, but it took a deflection and took another deflection and went right in, and then, went the opposite direction of the goalkeeper. You could also say, by the way, I am going to admit that shout out to Villa's keeper, who absolutely gift wrapped Mohamed Salah's 250th goal for Liverpool. He absolutely gift wrapped That was really, 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 really bad. As a matter of fact, I'll even show you how bad it was. I have a picture of it. This is the goal. It's almost like he's purposely trying to pass it to Mohamed Salah. But Mohamed Salah still had to do work. He still had to do work on getting this goal, by the way. He still had to do work because it was still a difficult angle. You still got to put enough pace on it for it to go, enough pace for it to go by the keeper, because the keeper's going to, the keeper did get back, but he didn't get back in time to really set up and be able to block off the angle from him. Still a very good shot. Still a very good shot. And then clean sheet. I don't have a picture of Gravenberg. I don't have a picture of Marmardashvili, but you got to give you credit where credit's due. Big up Marmardashvili. Our back line and Marmardashvili controlled the second half. No late collapse. We'll take that all day, every day. Now, what actually worked was this. This is was it? Dustin asked me the question, actually. When we reverted to tactics that we utilized last year, I think it's primarily because we were using components that we had in last year. The players responded. The crowd matched it. We can run through. I'm going to run through a quick run through, at least through the through my ratings. If I drop a rating and you think it was harsh or you think it was too low or whatever, you can tell me your rating for that player as well. You can just sit there and tell me, or you can tell me which way you go, up or down for the player. But I'm gonna rock and roll real quick with some of these ratings real quick. For Marmardashvili, I gave Marmardashvili a 7 out of 10. This is exactly what we needed from him. No drama, no. It's been what I don't want to see too, by the way. No paring it back into danger. If you're going to basically, and this is just coming from a goalkeeper's perspective, you're going to look to clear the ball with a punch. Make sure you knock that ball out. You've got to go strictly at centering. Usually you want to use two, like you want to use you want to use two hands on it. But if you need to, use one or whichever is your stronger punching hand and punch that thing out of danger. This is Marmardashvili's first clean sheet as a Liverpool player. Our first clean sheet since mid-September. We're in November now. That is mind-blowing. But yes, mid-September against Burnley was our last clean sheet. That's important for the whole team's mentality, I think, personally. Confidence is very, very important. So he had a big stop on Matty Cash's awkward shot, and then another to deny Morgan Rogers, which was really, really good to see. He looked like he belonged today, or at least that day. He looked like he belonged on that day as our keeper. This was a you can trust me style performance from the player. I give him a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Red Armchair supporters give him an 8. Okay. All right. For defense, let's go. Let's start with Connor Bradley. Now, that's the Connor Bradley I think we all want to see. We've been hopeful to see this all season from him, but he's had his niggles here, and it's been difficult for sometimes to see the player be able to get some momentum going. He's got competition for the position as well, and he's got a coach that continues to, for some reason, want to occasionally play Dominik Szoboszlai as a right back. Maybe he needs to stop watching Mons' show. Maybe he watches that show or not. I don't know. I watch it at least, but show support. But he was aggressive, confident in the tackles, had a very, very, very good time slide tackle that got Anfield roaring. That's the kind of momentum or the kind of moment that reboots a player's form, kind of momentum that you can build on. Going forward, he gave Salah a partner on the right this time, in this game at least. So Mo wasn't really isolated on that wing. And defensively, he chose his moments way better than he has in the past. So I'm going to take this performance. I'm hopefully going to see him continue this performance into Madrid, which is most likely a game he's going to start again. Played well against, had possibly one of his best games against Real Madrid last year, by the way. I'm giving Connor Bradley an 8 out of 10. I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was good. He was really good. Okay, let's tell the truth. Ibu's form has been part of why we've looked shaky. Today was closer to what we needed from our Ibu. Yes, he got robbed once, and it could have been dangerous because that was I don't know what he was thinking. Sometimes you have these little memory lapses from the players. But outside of that, he dominated Ollie Watkins. He dominated anyone that tried to push into the box. Making 11 defensive contributions is no joke. Shout out to Ibu. That's a defender taking his match up personally. I am going to say this. 7 for Ibu. I gave him a 7. I'm seeing 7.5 for Bradley. Okay. 8 sounds about right for Connor. I guess that was for Red Armchair Supporter. Okay. Now we go to our captain. This was a needed reset. Excuse me, I said rest. This was a needed reset for the captain. He's been taking a lot of verbal tongue lashings from some of our content creators out there. I know friend of the show, friend of mine, someone whose opinion I strongly value, Quasi and some of his other some of the other content creators, or not content. I don't think they were content creators actually, but they were people on this panel were very, very critical of our captain. There's been other outside of Quasi that have been the same too. People are saying, oh, he looks his age, or oh, maybe this is the wall. He's finally hit the wall, and the likes. He didn't have to play superhero. I don't want to have to see Roger Van Dijk have to play Superman every game for us to have some defensive continuity. He just played center half. He read defenses or offense as well, or defense as well, I guess you could say. He read offense as well. That's a better way of putting it. Cleared balls, organized our defense. Villa actually stopped hitting the obvious balls because Virgil was just eating them up. That's leadership, by calming everything down around him. And then hey, you can get to a point where you don't have to yell at players. You can get to a point where you can just be like, let's just keep this moving forward. I gave VVD a 7. A lot of my ratings are very, very measured today. I'm not going, like I said, I know we got the win. I know we played well, but I'm not going overboard, I don't think. I'm not going to go overboard with a lot of the praise and everything else like that. Because, but there is certain players I will do that for. This next player is one that I will make an exception for, and that is Andy Robertson. This is exactly why we kept saying play Robbo. First Premier League start of the season. Can anyone really, really put that to thought? This is Robbo's first Premier League start of the season. And it happens when we've just gotten up from a standing 8 count. It was something that we needed to see. Because you would have never thought that, ever, that Robbo would have been sitting on the bench, barely getting minutes, while a player continues to play in some subpar form in front of him. But he gave us assuredness. On the left, we haven't had. He overlapped. He underlapped. He popped up like a striker at times. He almost had a goal, had a real good goal opportunity at least. Crucially created space for Cody, which he has a good relationship with in playing and figuring out how they play together by forcing Villa's right side to track him. Defensively, he was dependable. This is the level I want to see from my left back. This is vice captaincy in action. And that's why I gave Robbo an 8. I gave Robbo an 8 today. Big up, Edward, by the way. Big up. Welcome to the show. Big up, big up. All right. Midfield. Make sure I'm gonna try to go through this a little bit quicker so you guys don't get weighted down by all my descriptions for their play. But midfield, I'm gonna start with I'll start with Ali. Alexi McAllister. I really liked this performance from him yesterday. Early on, yes, he got bypassed a couple of times. Villa tried to target our midfield speed, but he grew into it. He started stepping in, and then played that pass to release Gravenberch for the actual goal. Also, and you out there in the chat, you've mentioned it. He showed some real personality today. He showed some real, or in the game. I say today, but you know what I mean. He showed some real personality. He showed the heart, the intensity. He showed the grit, the grind. That's the guy we saw last season. The guy that was like little Rocky Balboa kind of like mentality of, you might be bigger or you might be stronger, or the likes, but I'm not going to let you bully me. I'm not going to let you bully me. He was one of only 2 players retained from midweek, and he went the full 90. He went the full 90. That matters. That's grit. That's hustle. That's determination. Shout out to Ali, to Alexi McAllister. I gave him a 7 out of 10. Let's give him a 7 out of 10. I want to see that. I want to see some of the form and some of the things that we got from him last year, which was the passing, the shots, the occasional shots on goal, those kind of things. Then I'll up my score a little bit more. But I thought it was a good performance. I'm going to go with the next player who, again, I already mentioned that some people were already talking mess. There's some people that already have him being replaced. There's a lot of people that don't have him, as recognizing that as our DM, he is incredibly important piece of our team. That's Ryan Gravenberch. His return was a huge boost for our team yesterday. You could tell he's still working his way back to 100% after missing those 3 games. We get that. But even at that, he was tidy, he was secure, secured the goal that let us breathe, by the way. I like that he stepped up and even went to take the shot. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. He had a 90% passing completion. He had good positioning. He was very energetic. He looked like he was involved and engrossed in the game. He had energy in the midfield, something that we've been missing from our midfield, by the way. It was a welcome back performance, I'll call it. I'm not calling him Cotter, but it was a welcome back. That's a 70s reference. I gave Grav an 8. I gave Grav an 8 yesterday. Grav makes a real difference in our team. And I'm hoping that people not only recognize it, but people appreciate the fact that this team plays with a pivot. We play with 2 DMs, albeit some of us don't want to see him go forward as much, but it's kind of interesting because those same people that don't want to see him go forward that much, or not many people want to see him go forward that much, as a DM especially, but those same people want to see him in a more advanced role, like an 8. So it's kind of like, it's when you deal with some of these vibes people, it's kind of interesting. But then again, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm going to go with my early claim for man of the match. That's Dominik Szoboszlai. This was his game. Shout out to Dominik. Shout out to those that have been riding with Dom from the very gate, because this Dominik Szoboszlai bus is hella packed right now with some people that are just begrudgingly, maybe, but still the same, pretending that they didn't say some of the absolute garbage takes that they had about this player. I can't say it enough. Like, especially the reason why I do is because I got so much pushback or so much like you this and you that when I was saying about Dominik Szoboszlai and how important he is for us, how important he was for us. I agree real quick. I do want to say that, Norm, you are absolutely right. That I don't understand how someone can go to choke you on the pitch and that not be seen as a dangerous, aggressive act. How someone can put their hands on your throat and that cannot be seen as an aggressive act. That's pathetic. And again, it's the kind of respect that our team gets from a lot of referees, VAR, blah, blah, blah. That's pathetic. And that's the reason why I was happy to see that Maka was ready to stand up and not be pushed around, not be bullied yesterday, because that's sometimes, I think some of our players play it too cool, play it too calm. You got to sometimes let players know, no, that does not go off here at all. You got to make sure they understand that doesn't go off here ever. But Dom was amazing yesterday. Deployed as a 10. He was everywhere. I know some people don't like him as a 10. Again, I've heard some really, really wild takes about how he's more of a right back than he is a midfielder, for instance, by some content creators out there, which is like absolutely bonkers that they would say. That's just, I don't want to call out their ball knowledge, but that's just silly. Because this guy is a baller. He's an absolute baller. He was everywhere on the pitch. Pressed their first phase, carried us into the final third, shot from distance. More importantly, he set the tone for the rest of the team. We worked yesterday, and he had his hard hat on. Where would the Reds be without him this season? I'm going to seriously ask you that question. Where would the Reds be without Dominik Szoboszlai this season? And you know who you are out there that we're saying some really, really, really nasty things about this player. Where would we be without this player? He's been the guy. He's been that guy in a tough stretch. This was an A-level Szoboszlai performance. Shout out to Dom, the boss. Big up. Big up to you. I gave him a 9 out of 10. All right. Quickly, because we only have 4 more players. So quickly, Mohamed Salah. Some are saying this is the game back. Some are saying that this is I give props for him covering it right back, but Dom is not a right back. The sad part about it is that Dom has, because I'm going to go into Salah again, but the sad part about it is, to me, Norm, is that Dom is a player that does have, I'm not going to say he has, there's a reason why Dom and Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think, were such besties from the very gate. I don't know if you guys watched inside the team type stuff. But there's a lot of stories that came out, and you could see the fact that Dom and Trent, maybe because their ages are right around the same as well, they automatically hit it. They hit it off, and they enjoyed playing, not only playing with each other, but they enjoyed each other's presence. You can see that, and they enjoyed each other's talents in the sense of using it as a bar to measure themselves against. And it's why Trent took our free kicks last year, and now all of a sudden Dom's our predominant free kick taker. We got so much of our offense generated from our right back being Trent last year, and now we're missing that same level, if not it being a different pathway towards getting production out of our right back. And rather, we've been utilizing Dominik because he does have the ability to cross, to make tough passes and the likes, and that's what's been a real big difference. So yeah. Let me see. I'll start your question. Hi, Laura. I will get it. All right. So again, Salah. Some people are saying this is like the game back for Salah. This is like the best game they've seen Salah play in a hot minute. This was a very needed game for Salah in that he got a goal. He got, we all say how he loves a record to be broken. So there's been others saying that Salah doesn't look like Salah, but today or on this day, he was much better. He had smart touches, he had better movement, he had better link up. Then he was gifted the ball for an absolute pass back into the net practically. It's 250 Liverpool goals for him. That's legendary status for the player who's already a legend, a living legend. Confidence back, let's not get it twisted. There's reasons why I'm saying we're not back, why I'm not going this whole like Liverpool's back, scenario. Salah, fantastic that you scored, but there's still work to be done. He's not fully back. The door's open again for him to step it up, be that guy again. But let's be honest. He had a couple misses. He had a couple opportunities he probably should have bagged. But he looked like he was engaged. He looked like he was counter-pressing. He looked like he was actually playing defense. We said that before. If you're not going to be able to do things right, which is meaning like if you're not going to be able to give me goals, which is what we rely on you for, then, hey, do me one better and give me effort defensively. Give me effort in areas that people are going to try to manipulate. So shout out to him. Quickly, Cody, Agent Cody. This is where we still need more from him. I think this is a game that he worked. He tried to tuck in, but he's becoming a bit predictable when he cuts inside to a lot of people's takes. But the positive about that is Robbo's presence helped him. He looked more connected. He looked more simpatico with his left back. But if he wants to be nailed on as a starter, he has to add the variety. I want to see him go to the byline. I want to see him pass to crosses more often. Defenders might be reading him too easily. If that's the case. We hope that Cody can bring other parts of his game out. But I gave Cody a 6. Finally, Hugo Ekitike, because I only have one sub to go on. Hugo Ekitike, give another chance without Isak out there. Took his header really well. Excellent header. He didn't even have to go off. He didn't even really have to go off sides to get that header, by the way. He didn't. I think that was just him being, maybe he was just a little bit like anxious and like he kind of floated off sides because he wasn't being tightly marked. He obviously has incredible pace, so chances are he would have been able to beat the defender to the ball. Showed some very lovely flicks on the ball, by the way. Let me say that. I want to say it was to Maka, but there was a couple like really, really, really exciting, good on the eye style flicks. You can see there's a player there. We all know that. You can see he wasn't happy to come off We understand that, but Ekitike, let me tell you this: we need you we will need you. Let me emphasize that for this game coming against Tuesday. We need you. So I didn't really mind seeing him come off. It was interesting too, by the way. I didn't do a watch along, but I was talking to some friends during the game, back and forth as the likes. And before he made the sub, I was saying I want to see Wirtz in this game, because I just think Wirtz is an undeniably important piece to our puzzle, or to our team. And I was saying that I wouldn't, if we're going to sub someone, I was actually saying sub him on for Ekitike. If we're going to try something new, maybe put Wirtz in as a false nine. Have a little experiment that you did with Diaz and make it happen with Florian Wirtz. That's at least what I was saying. Up to nothing, I was kind of thinking that we could do something like that, especially with like 15, 20 minutes left in the game. But it's good to see that Ekitike wasn't happy. He just needs to run without interruptions. We get that, but I gave Ekitike a 6 out of 10. I know it's maybe a little harsh. Maybe some of you are going to give him a 7. I would have given him a 7 out of 10, but the reason why I gave him a 6 was because I don't think he had to be offsides for that. I think if he just holds the line that 1 second longer and then makes the break, he can really get. He could have had that goal just as easily. So that's why I gave him a 6 out of 10. Hang on a second here. All right. I think Nolante might be joining us. Let me send him the link. All right. Florian Wirtz, last but not least, Florian Wirtz, because we didn't use Woodman, Pesci, Gomez, Kirkes, Endo, Nioni, Rio, and Chiesa. I'm not really mad at. Okay, let me properly state this, because this is going to be. I definitely want to hear what your opinions are, by the way, in the chat. We only used one sub. Florian Wirtz was that sub. You already understand. You already heard my take on it on Florian Wirtz getting the game. You already heard my take about I was cool. I was actually asking for him to sub on for Ekitike. I was interested about what he was going to do on the pitch, Florian Wirtz. I'd like to see him hit one. I'd like to see him get his opportunity to score a goal. He didn't get that real solid opportunity yesterday. That's fine. Some of his passes were a little off here or there. He openly got that. Some players I don't think are good at coming. I don't think Florian Wirtz is the kind of player that you want to play off the bench. Let me emphasize that. That's the reason why I don't want to see Florian Wirtz on the bench, especially even going forward. Do I think Villa played into our hands? Actually, you know what? There is a good shout for that, Emmy. There is a very good shout for that. I heard two pundits, I think one on Sky Sports and one on Talk Sport, I think, say the very same thing that you just said. I can get into that in a minute. I'm going to finish this up with our ratings. But it's fine to see us get him in. At least he got a little bit of a run. This wasn't a game where we needed him to unlock a low block. We were already winning. We were up 2-0 by that time too, by the way. So he'll be far more ready and far more important versus Real Madrid. Again, if he's not a starter, I'm going to be absolutely incensed as to what Arne's really trying to do here. But we didn't use any of our bench players. I don't know if any of our bench players were necessary to be subbed on into this game, other than if you're just trying to save legs. That's why for Arne Slot, this was him saying, let me stop being cute, maybe. Only one outfield player, not from last season. He played Robbo, like I said. Big up to him for listening to our show. Restored the midfield to a trust level that we all like to see. Anfield was singing his name yesterday. I don't know if Lauren was or wasn't, but I know Anfield was singing Arne Slot's name. And it wasn't that when we were up 1-0. It wasn't when we were up 2-0. I mean, there were times when it was. However, it didn't start at 1-0 or 2-0. It started when we were 0-0. Shout out to those at Anfield. Again, it's the reason why you got to give mad props and credit to the fans that go to the games, especially the fans that travel, but the fans that get to go to the games at Anfield. They are a huge reason why our boys end up getting and having regained confidence in their aspirations. But big deal, step in the right direction. Go against Madrid again. I'm telling you, Madrid and City are two of the biggest games that we got to get through. We'll see. I gave Arne a 6 out of 10 for the rating for him. I'm gonna go through this section. I've been calling this like teams in hockey teams do this. They have like a 3-star system. And they announced the 3 stars. I'm going to give 3 stars to Liverpool's front press. For weeks, we've been calling out for a consistent counter press. We've been talking about the defense, why it's poor, why we're all getting scored on so much, yada, 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 yada. Whenever I got asked this question, or whenever people would talk and bring out some of the narratives that they would say, or some of the angles they would talk about, often my go-to comment back to them was, our defense doesn't start with VVD and Konate or any of our fullbacks. Our defense, or the identity of our team's defense, has always been, at least from the Klopp era, I should say, for the last 10 years at least, has always been our front line. Our front press has always been the first stage, the first line of defense. We were the ones trapping. We were the ones jumping to the ball. We were shutting off out balls. Villa, we forced Villa into mistakes. They could not play the ball out, and they are a good team. That's what Liverpool are supposed to look like. Coordinated, aggressive, clean distances between lines so nobody can just zip it through. This was the best example this season of Arne Slot's press actually looking like a Liverpool press. My 2-star shout goes to the clean sheet. This team has looked ragged defensively. Obviously, because of our front press, we've been relying for a lot of the play to get deeper. We're relying for these long balls. They're bypassing our front press by doing long balls, so they're getting into our midfield, if not to our back line, and being able to attack us very, very with their own pace and utilizing that. But this team has looked ragged today, or on this day. We look connected, whether it's because Ibu and Virgil van Dijk had 2 players on both sides of them that they know and trust. But Konate and Virgil moved together well. The fullbacks weren't miles high at the wrong time or had acres of space in between them. The midfield actually screened perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it was calm. And when you've gone a month without a clean sheet, calm is everything. Calm is so important to weathering the storm. So 2 stars out to the clean sheet. Finally, 1 star 1 star I'm going to give to Mohamed Salah. Not because he was the best Salah goal. It was not because his goal was the best Salah goal ever, but because of what it represents. 250 goals is an amazing accomplishment, something that should be noted and appreciated and applauded. Back-to-back league goals for the player. Fantastic. Maybe this is you getting on the right foot, Mr. Salah. I know you're left-footed, but all the same, being on the right foot. I think he scored with your right foot this weekend. And maybe getting more like the Salah that we need, which is having Salah that defenders hate marking. And maybe it means that Salah gets into his head that, just show effort on defense. Be active in the counter press. Be active in tracking back here and there. You'll have your moments to be able to cheat and get out there and cherry pick, but actively be a part of the defense so that teams don't think that they can have a free run on that side of the pitch. Salah goes on a run, Liverpool go on a run, and that's that simple. So, again, I think Liverpool have been the one stymied by presses lately, which is wild if you watched us under Klopp. But today, on this day, we flipped it. Now I'm glad to see that. I'm really glad to see that. Really glad. Okay, and Alante will be with us shortly here. He will be back with us shortly. So cool. But I would say, at Anfield looks like a return to form. Villa tried to play out, and every time they did, we had the lanes closed. Like I said, the outlets marked. We had the triggers that were good. You almost couldn't blame their defenders for panicking, which they did quite often. Even their goalkeeper. That's just the result of good high pressing. It forces mistakes. They're normally back lines aren't the best passers of the ball. Otherwise, they would be part of the midfield, if not a part of that front line. So we force mistakes because there's nowhere smart to go. And that's why I love this performance. I thought it was a good performance. It's positive. It's positive momentum forward. It was a clear tactical plan for Arne and perfect execution from a good number of our players yesterday. And I'm happy about that. Definitely happy. Let's see. Give myself a drink here. Still, I'm just seeing some of your comments. See if some of your comments have any questions you want me to answer. Let's see. All right, let me see this one. This is from Hylor. Hylor says, if you stopped 10 LFC fans in the street and asked them who they would have subbed onto the pitch if Ekitike was taken off, wouldn't you say that at least 8 of them would have said Chiesa, not Wirtz? I'm sure they would have. I'm sure probably 10 out of 10 would have said it, considering the bench. We don't have another striker on the bench, and Florian Wirtz is the closest thing to a striker that we have on the bench, or at least on the bench yesterday. Because you're not subbing in Rio for the striker role. You're not subbing in Trey, who's more of a midfielder than he is at the front line. So you're not subbing in Trey. Obviously, Endo, no. Kirkes, no. Gomez, no. And then you have 2 goalkeepers. Yeah, I'd go as far as to say 10 out of 10. Well, no. How about this? I'll go as far as to say 9 out of 10 would have said that. Because if you had stopped me yesterday and asked me after the game or before the game that question, I would have said Florian Wirtz should be in. If you're only going to make one sub, and that one sub is going to be Ekitike, and I'd make that sub. Because I already know what I get. I already know what I get out of Chiesa. It's bringing on Chiesa in that moment isn't bringing. It might bring me another goal, fantastic. It might bring me, a great pass, or it might bring me some hustle on the pitch. That I'm not denying. However, what I am asking for is for myself and my other fellow Reds here to be able to see Florian Wirtz start to cook. I want to see Florian Wirtz start to show the normal actions that he showed for Leverkusen, which is dominating games, controlling games, being able to put his will onto games, whether through passing or through his shooting. That's why I was asking Florian Wirtz to play over even Chiesa, because I know if we were searching for a goal, Chiesa all day, every day. If we were searching for a goal, or we needed a goal, meaning we were trying to get a goal back, or we're trying to get a goal to go in front, Chiesa all day. Because that wouldn't have been the time to experiment with Florian Wirtz. But we're up to nothing. Florian Wirtz. My honest answer. Let's see. Oh, before we get into these last couple of segments, I'm going to get into this real quick. Team fitness, because that is an important question. I know some people are wondering what's going on with some of these players that are out. So let's shift from the good vibes to the reality check, I guess you could say here, because we are still walking wounded with Real Madrid at Anfield on Tuesday. Manchester City away on the 9th of November, I believe it is. We cannot lie to ourselves. We need some bodies back into the regular rotation. So let's run this. Alisson Becker, hamstring, out for 6 matches. He posted step by step. At least that was his quote that he posted. That tells you everything. He says that he's obviously going through. You can see some of the frustrations on his face sitting on the bench there. They've been cautious. I think we should be cautious as well, because the best estimate is apparently that he'll be returning November 22nd for that Nottingham Forest game at home. Excuse me. That's right after Real Madrid and City, because I think we have a international break right there, right in between. So hopefully he doesn't go back to Brazil and try to play there. But we're going into these 2 fixtures without Ali, basically. That means Marmadashvili has to be locked in. It means no hero ball. It means no weird distribution. Just be solid, Marmadashvili. Just be cool. Right? We're like Fonzie, right? We're like Fonzie. What's Fonzie like? Cool, right? Cool. A little Pulp Fiction there. All right, Jeremy Frimpong, hamstring. Slot was very clear of his words. He's not going to play today. He's not going to play tomorrow or even next week. That sounded like a manager managing expectations. Real Madrid, no. City, I'm going to lean towards no. I think we will probably get to see, if anything, maybe November 22nd as being the target that we put on Frimpong. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Especially, I've been advocating this. Shout out to Ramsey. This is your time, my brother. This is your time, my Red. Utilize this moment to find yourself as a backup right back on this team, to be able to show some of the components that we originally got you for, which was your ability to pass. I'm not saying you had the levels of Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I am saying that there were some remnants of that kind of passing range that we could see from you. Let's get him into the lineup, people. That's my shout, at least. Okay. I thought he played well, and I think that we're at a time of need where I don't want to have Frimpong get rushed back, get another hamstring, and be out maybe even longer. I don't want to have that. Work yourself back to fitness and get back into and be available for the stretch where we're really going to need you, which is January, February, March, those kinds of months. December especially, but those months especially too. Alexander Isak, groin injury. This one's annoying because groins are tricky, obviously. Pause. I would even go as far as to say why it's frustrating for me is because there are people that were saying he's quote unquote injury prone. We already knew that this was one of the injuries that he had from last year. There's certain things that he probably could have done. There's things that Newcastle could have done to basically protect the player, allow for the player to really truly be fit enough to play, whether he's going to play for Newcastle or not, but they didn't. And the end phases for a groin injury can go slower sometimes, or they can go faster. But that's how Slot literally said it, basically. He said the end phase can go slower or faster. My translation to that, we don't know yet. We don't know. That's my translation. With him not back in training, it's very hard to see him getting into this Real Madrid game, which I wish he was. I don't even think he'd get into the City game if it's like that. So we're looking at probably Nottingham Forest again. The November 22nd, the week after the international break, is looking like a very, very likely feel-good return session for a lot of our injured players. Curtis Jones, let me say this. Big up Cujo, by the way. We all know he's out. He wasn't in training. I'm hoping that his return date isn't after the break. I'm hearing from the reports I've been reading that that's probably what's going to happen. Is he going to return after the break? They're not going to rush him back. They're not going to, chance him picking up or making the injury worse. But I'm hoping that that's the case. I guess you're probably asking, what does all this mean? I would say it means Slot actually picked the right game to go back to basics, maybe. Because we're going into two massive games with a thin squad. Pick the guys that know what it's like to be in this moment. Pick the guys that know what it's like to play against these teams. Pick the guys that are going to have trust and belief in each other. They'll be able to hold up, Marmardashvili, so that he can, hopefully start to emerge as a confident keeper. It means Bradley can keep his place. It means Ramsey could possibly create a place for him, if not with this team, certainly with another. It means Robbo stays in. To all my Robbo haters out there, just get over it. It means Dominik Szoboszlai. It means even McAllister and Gravenberch might have to go again in some way or another. I want to see Florian Wirtz play, though, this weekend or this Tuesday. But that's very important to me because it means if we can make this stand, if we can survive this next two-game gauntlet, we'll still be in the mix in both the league. We'll still be in total control of our ambitions for the Champions League. Then getting those four players back in November 22nd will be like Christmas come early for some people, if you celebrate that or not. It's just a reference, at least. And then maybe you can say, okay, now we can gauge if Liverpool's back. Let's get ourselves healthy. Let's get through these difficult games, these immensely difficult games, and then you can maybe say Liverpool's back. It's the real big question. Real big question. So, I had the audacity to put is Liverpool back, ... or question mark, on our thumbnail today. And that's just it. Are Reds back? Now let's have a real grown-up conversation. Please. This isn't all about vibes, or this is not about banter. I'm not going down any of those routes. I'm having a real conversation because I enjoy the fact that we have some real sensible people in the chat. We beat Villa. We look like Liverpool to most. The crowd sang for Slot. Salah hit 250 goals. We got a clean sheet. Our midfield had balance. Fullbacks looked like fullbacks. So, are we back? My answer is still NO. But we might be on the road to being back. First step of many. It sucks that we have to even say this. It sucks. Trust me, I know I'm going through rehabilitation for myself, and I want to lift weights. I want to go for bike rides. I want to be back. I want to be able to go out on the pitch and kick the ball around. I want to be back. Shoot some hoops. Do something. Go for a hike. And the first thing our doctor says is time, patience. And it's difficult when you have that. You want to be back, but you're just not. And here's why. One win doesn't fix a 4-game losing streak, in the league at least. It just stops the bleeding. That's what the Villa game was. It was a bandage. It wasn't surgery. It was a bandage. It was like us getting checked into the ER, and they at least stopped the bleeding. Now we've got to do the work. We've got to do the surgical procedures on this team, and we got to do the work in rehab. We got to do all these different things, that brings about a better us. Because we finally look in control. In that second half, we managed the game. We didn't panic. We didn't implode. We didn't make it dramatic. You could argue that that's what some teams in Liverpool's past used to do. Maybe even this one. But you would see it. Maybe we score in the 45th minute. We would kill it on the 58th minute. And then we would strangle the game out. I think that the play of Maka, and shout out for some of the people that aren't really bailing on Maka and starting to say this revisionary history on the player as if he isn't an important and a dynamic player in itself. But the soft narrative got answered. People said after Brentford, Liverpool don't fancy, quote unquote, Liverpool don't fancy 50-50s. Well, today, or on this day, I saw players running for 50-50s. I saw running through contact. I saw players not getting bullied in the box for set pieces, refusing to allow for players to push them around. We showed edge, playing with something to prove. That looked like a dressing room that heard what needed to be said, whether it was by our captain, whether it's by our coach, whether it's by the leadership group, or maybe it's by just random players. Whatever was said, the message stuck. And then we all talk about, I said that this might be like the buzzword of the night, going back to basic words, but Slot finally went back to a winning formula. You're not going to do the 4-4-2 like we asked for, the 4-4-2 diamond like I asked for. You're not even going to do the 4-2-2-2 like some of us had said, okay, we'll settle for. But Gravenberch, Dom, and McAllister worked in that midfield. You put Robbo in as a left back, it worked. We saw improved connection between Bradley, it worked. Florian Wirtz off the bench, okay, we get it. If you're not going to start him, still play him, regardless. And that was a difference maker. That was a real difference maker. And then some names that we weren't expecting didn't get to play in this game, got to play in that cup game. But maybe some of those names that we weren't expecting to see, maybe they get their chances. That's how you get buy-in from the senior players. That's how you get your crowd back, is by allowing for players that they're familiar with, the players that they believe in, players that they trust, players that they know. Players that they trust know the responsibility that it takes to wear that badge. They can get behind that. They can have some belief and trust. Some of us already have Salah out the door. Some of us have already given up on Salah. But if Salah goes in a run now and he's already scored in back-to-back league games, that changes everything for this team. Because this team is still built, despite the fact that we do want to see our strikers get more production. This team is still built on him scoring. Slot even said, this is the Mo we want to see. Salah himself said it's a tricky season. We have to learn each other's games. I've said that time and time again. He knows he's not satisfied with his game, and he also knows that this team has to gel. So I'm going to say, what will make me say, yes, Liverpool are back? Beat Real Madrid. Or at least go blow for blow and show some tactical maturity in that game. I hear you, Latte. I hear you. Go to the Etihad and don't fold. Manchester City are not the Manchester City that we all knew from the past. Erling Haaland is a cyborg. He's the only reason why I have any points in my fantasy football league. He's the only reason. But I don't want to settle for a draw at the Etihad. I want to get a win. We need to destroy Forest. I think that is the Forest we'll be going up against isn't obviously the Forest that we faced that original time with Nuno. It wasn't. They were a bogey team last year. But I want to say that we need to destroy Forest because Forest are not a good team this year. And it'll be fantastic to get wins in Real Madrid and City. But to allow for us to get our level of focus, to be taken away from us, and allow for our level of focus and our level of all the momentum basically that we've built up be destroyed because we play to our opponent's level, if not worse, or we look at it as some people look at games as being games they don't really look at on the calendar. They look past those games. We cannot look past any game on the calendar. We've already, having 4 losses in the league, we've eliminated looking past games in the Premier League calendar. Because most importantly, no more boom and bust. We beat Frankfurt 5-1, then lost to Brentford. That's my point. We can't repeat that pattern. We could beat Real Madrid in a tough game. We can go to Etihad, maybe win 3-1 or win 4-2 or something like that, and then lose to Forest. That can't happen. That can't happen. I have a bunch more to say, but I'm going to bring Latte in before he gets too hunkered down with me talking. I don't want to keep our guests sitting here. How are you doing today, Latte?
All good, Rob. Some very good points. Obviously, just traveling back from work. So, again, if I'm in and out again, like I was saying to you, apologies anyway. But, yeah, man, I mean, we won the game. Celebrate. Good time. Celebrate. Let's have a great time. Yeah, I mean, we won a game. Ladies and gentlemen, we won a game. But, look, as much as I've been kind of just being logical, and some of the slot haters must have been damn disappointed us winning yesterday. Oh my God, I'd probably cry right now. I mean, I name names. Someone ends game might be crying right now. We won a game. You know, others Cal might be crying. But yeah, look, it's a win, but there's more to come. It's a start. It is how we and it's how we what's the word? How we improve because of their regarding to words. I've just seen the comments, some interesting comments, from Hyla, and there's one guy, Emmy, big yourselves up. I
Mhm.
don't think Wirtz is just suited to a 3-4-1-2. He's played in a 4-2-3-1 before with Germany. I
Yeah,
don't think it's the formation that's suiting him. It's the players. It's the link up because great players they're not bound to one system.
mm,
So 3-4-1-2, yeah, maybe, but maybe not. But no, it's just down to form, the league. It's a couple of things. But I'm not gonna say, oh, the formation is binding him down. No,
I agree with
we've
that.
been, yeah, we've all been, apart from one player, Szoboszlai, who again was man in the match again yesterday.
Mm,
With all the players have been off form. So yeah, but we saw some old glimpses of Mo. Still not the 100% Mo. That was more like the Mo of old.
mhm.
Cody was a bit hit and miss yesterday. Hugo, yeah, I would have kept him on, but I wouldn't have started McAllister personally. But he was okay. Some people thought he was very good, but I didn't. I thought he was just okay. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
bro. But there's still, Ibu was better. Robbo, I thought was excellent. Andy Robbo, I mean, you in the comments, please speak your piece if you wanted Robbo to be sold in the summer. Mm.
There were
A
some
lot
of
of people
you.
say this is sold, man. Listen, I said keep him. Listen, Robbo is an asset, and I want him to finish his career at Liverpool. And yes, he might not have the pace. When you get older, it happens. But he's a valuable squad player right now. Just the same slot can't do the same for Mo, but it's got to go. Look, we move, and the bigger tests are here to come. And yeah, I mean, I would personally, in terms of I'm not forget the Real Madrid game for a moment, but we can park that to one side. I will take a point at City, minimum a point, if we beat Nottingham Forest.
Mm.
But you know, I'm just being realistic right now.
I
But
agree.
of course, yeah.
No,
But
no.
that's a big if. Yeah.
That
So
is a huge if. And I agree
yeah,
with your point about Robbo in that he might have lost, some of the pace that we've come to, credit him with. But when you get older, smart players learn to smart players learn to understand that they might not have the pace, but they have the better football IQ. So then
facts.
you start utilizing the pitch angles. You start like figuring out how to use spacing between your own players. Um, it's more suited. Even the smart ones you even utilize the referee. Taking advantage of what the referee is sometimes going to call, not call, and such. You know, but you start utilizing your football IQ more, and that's something that I don't think everyone and anyone. I don't think many people have really been giving Robbo credit for, despite the fact that there have been there's, Robbo hasn't been perfect. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that Robbo is a very, very important part to this team. And I just think that Kirkez is the future, but I don't think that Kirkez is now. Notice the word I said, the future. You have to work towards the future. So I'm really looking to see Kirkez. And there are things that Kirkez can do. Kirkez, I mean, like we're talking about pace and all that other stuff. Like if we can get a player that can exert energy on the pitch like Robert 60 minutes, then maybe we can just sub in a Kirkez for the last 30 minutes to exert some pace and coverage on that left side that their side might have to deal with, being that they have been, having to exert a lot of energy in the game. But I know I shifted to this, we're not back, but something's shifted type situation for Liverpool, because people are putting it back. A lot of people are putting out lines of Liverpool are back. I thought it was very interesting to see Anfield rise up for Arne when it was 0-0. That was a real testament about the character of Liverpool's crowd and Liverpool's fan base, especially the ones that go to the games, because it's one thing for us to have keyboard warriors or for us to have social media and the likes, being able to utilize those types of mediums. It's another thing when you are at the stadium, when you can be heard and let your voices be heard by those players. There's no hiding on the pitch. They hear you. And the crowd didn't want for us to score. Didn't wait for us to score. They started showing love towards Arne Slot. They were singing the La 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 song for Arne Slot. And I heard it on TV. And I'm like, wow, that's from minute one. That kind of sentiment doesn't go hand in hand with some of the sentiments. I mean, I showed a bunch of different thumbnails a couple days ago. That sentiment doesn't match the sentiment that we saw a lot of channels and content creators and I didn't show a lot of Sky. I think I might show one or two Sky Sports ones, but the mass media takes on it. I mean, Virgil was literally, getting the cop off their feet before kickoff. It tells you the players felt the moment. Slot said it himself. It meant a lot because it happened at 0-0. When we were in a difficult situation, that's the line. That's Liverpool. When things are hard, when things are difficult, this club is supposed to get louder, not more toxic. And it also proves something. You, myself, or Nolante, things that we've all been saying. Most of the wild negativity is online, not in the grounds. It's not with some of us that are in this forum, especially, that sensibly try to have an honest conversation. We can critique it. We can have different opinions. We can also have constructive criticism. But we'd like to get to some type of a setting, some type of an understanding of what we're trying to say, and we're not just saying it because we have some agenda. I was telling Alante, it's one of I don't know the guy too well, but I think he's a comedian or something. Maybe he should stick to comedy, but
yeah, Kojo.
Yeah. He was going as far as to say that Curtis Jones is horrible. Curtis Jones has been one of our best players this year. It's a shame that he's injured right now, because then maybe he could continue that form and continue to play well. But I don't think that any person in the chat, I don't think Nolante would say it either, and you're not going to definitely hear from me saying that Curtis Jones has been bad this year, or that Curtis Jones isn't a player. That was his take. And that's when, like, I'm sitting in a lot of these forums, because a lot of these forums don't necessarily invite me on for a reason. They don't invite Malante on, invite me on. They invite a lot of the people that you see on this channel and the panels on, because, like, we're not going to sit there and listen to the BS that they spout sometimes. Sometimes they've got some great points. I'm not saying that, I mean, that they don't have some great points or they don't have good takes sometimes. But that take is just straight A-double-S. I'm sorry. That take is...
Yeah. You know the fact.
He's not the only player. I mean, he's said things about Dominik Szoboszlai. Not only him, but the other people on some of the panels I watch. Like I said, we've heard things about how Cody Hakpo isn't Liverpool level. We've heard that Dominik Szoboszlai should have been should have never been bought, much less should he be with the team any longer. We heard Lucho wasn't good enough for this team. He's not even with this team anymore. You know, we've heard like there's just like crazy. Like, as in sometimes we get rolled up into the emotions, and we just come out. We hear some people come out with some takes, and it's like it's just weird, and it can be frustrating. Because some of us have been involved in the game one way or another, whether it's on the management side, whether it's in the actual player side, maybe it's both. But JP brought up a fantastic point. Fantastic point, actually, because and it kind of segues into what I got to say next, which is our fullbacks look much better. I've been preaching this since August and getting pushback for it. I've been saying this loud and clear. Robbo must be the first start left back right now. When he plays, the whole defensive line looks more secure. The buildup on the left looks less chaotic. The winger in front of him looks better, whether it is Cody or not. The leadership level goes up as well. The experience level goes up. That's not an accident. That's experience, period. On the right, Connor Bradley finally gave us a night where we could say, okay, there's the player we were excited about. There's a player that some people of our fan base told us we don't need Trent anymore. We've got Connor Bradley. And maybe he's working towards trying to honor that praise. Because I don't think he's there yet. I was certainly not someone saying that back in the day. But he linked with Salah. He didn't leave big defensive gaps. He gave us something we've missed, especially some of that stuff that we missed when Trent wasn't playing last year, and that was trust. Not just technique, but trust. And why I brought up the Connor thing about what JP had to say was because, or even about Robbo, was because he made a point about how people made so much about Virgil van Dijk yelling at Kerkez that time when he tried to clear the ball and he kicked it into Kerkez's face. And it was funny to me because I understood why he was yelling. It was more funny he got kicked in the face. That's what's funny. But I mean, it was funny because he wasn't hurt. That's why it was funny. Okay. But and he was yelling at him. People were like, what's he doing yelling at him? He's not a real leader. He's not this. He's not that. And JP brought up the point that was spot on. Virgil van Dijk was yelling at him because, A, if Kerkez is behind him, he's got to freaking communicate. He's got to talk and tell his captain that he's behind him. There was no one, it was just VVD and Kerkez there. So, if anything, Kerkez could be like, let it go, or I've got it, because he sees everything in front of him. He's the last defender there, not Virgil van Dijk. He is. But because there's no communication, because he's not talking to Virgil van Dijk, because he doesn't know that he's there, Virgil van Dijk thinks, maybe there's enough. Maybe that player that is the guy he's supposed to be marking is there. And that's the first thing he thinks of is, I got to clear this ball. But now you have Kirkes that's floating, gravitating towards him, not talking, and he gets kicked in the face with the ball. You can say what you want, but look, our Liverpool back, that's part of the answer. We got to have some real calm continuity amongst that back line. Robbo brings some of that to the fold. We're going to get back. We're going to get back. I'm hoping we can get stable. I asked this question to you, Nalante. Is this the corner we must turn, or is this the corner we must turn to say we're back already? Or where is that corner for you?
It's a corner we must turn, but no, we're not back. This is just one game. If we can beat City and Forest, I will classify that as back for me. We win those next two, especially the City game, away game, which then and Forest, then I'll say yeah, we're kind of back. We're back.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I look at it very similar. I say this was a corner. Now we have to walk down this street to meet Real Madrid to go take another corner. You know what I mean? And then we have to walk down that street to meet City and turn another corner. You know what I mean? That's how I'm looking at it.
I know it's an informal Real Madrid, 4 points clear in the Liga. They beat Barcelona last week, and then the Clasico. Mbappe's doing the Mbappe thing, so it's gonna be well.
We embarrassed them somewhat last year when we played them at home.
Yeah, we dominated.
Yeah, they've got a chip on their shoulder to come back and really prove and make a difference. Not get embarrassed again. Xavi's got the same. Xavi Alonso. We embarrassed his Leverkusen team. Excuse me. That was undefeated. Or had just come off of an undefeated season.
Yeah, they're looking to take us out.
Yeah, everyone has a reason to take it. They all have reasons to have circled this game and said we've got to show up for this game.
Yeah, because if anyhow we play how we've been playing before, then it's going to be. Remember, 2023 season at 5-2 battle we took at home. It's going to be a similar scoreline, and I don't think any of us want to see that. I don't care if it's Real Madrid.
Yeah,
we have to 5-2 at home. It's embarrassing. Yeah.
I was going to say we have to match Real Madrid physically. Prove we're not soft. Yeah. We have to not get bullied at the Etihad. We have to somehow contain. Virgil van Dijk's got to have the game of his, and he has always played Holland well, by the way. Holland crushes in games against a lot of the mid-level. Not saying that he can only play against those teams. But what I am saying is that when he does play against those teams, he usually bags multiple goals. They said something today too, which was crazy, and his answer was funny. He said, this is the 15th game he's been on a brace and on the verge of getting a hat trick, and his manager has subbed him out, preventing him from getting that hat trick. Man is scoring, and rather than get a full 90, 15 times he's been subbed out by his manager.
I'll give it to Pep. Yeah, got to give it to him, man. He doesn't play. That's what I'm saying.
Put him on blast, though, Alante. He put him on blast because the interviewer asked him that question, and he was like, I don't know. That I guess you gotta ask Pep that question as to why he's doing it. Because of course I want to get the hat trick.
Yeah, but that's strong management. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Strong management. This is what Slot needs to do with Mo. He needs to stop catering to him and just take him off. don't play. This is what Slot needs to do. But I know, and apart from the odd Champions League game, which is meaningless, I know we still need to win. He needs to do that in league games, whatever. That's what I want to see my manager do. No favoritism. Play. Big up JK, KJ, you know. KJ in the building. Big up.
Building.
But this is what Slot needs to do. And like I said, I don't want, and again, it feels like an attacker mode, but it's just, I've seen it so many times, you know. We've seen it so many times. Remember last season, I was laughed at. Don't pick Mo, he's in the form of his life. But you don't need to play Mo every game.
You
You
don't.
don't.
You don't.
You don't. Form or not wise. And now in a situation where he's playing, obviously, well done, he scored. But I mean, come on, like, when is Chiesa, when did go, Joey, when are these people going to get a chance? Is it just a case that Slot just doesn't fancy them, or just whenever they'll come game? They're better than that. I mean, they're better than that. But we're just giving opinions, innit? You know what I mean? None of us are the managers, and that's what I like Slot to do. But he's not going to. He's not going to. So we just have to hope Mo continues from last week when he was poor, but he got his goal. Hopefully, this week he's more better. So hopefully he gets his mojo back. That's it, really.
Pep is planning to unleash Haaland. Though Slot ain't planning to unleash Salah this season. That's the difference. Ooh, okay, I got you. Hopefully Slot is planning to contain Haaland with VVD. Hopefully, because that's what we'll need. It's not going to be easy, and if you guys think that VVD screams and yells and barks out orders, trust me, that game he's going to be doing a lot of that. Let's have some fun before we end the show.
Pick up AR, by the way. Pick up yourself.
Pick up AR for sure. Pick up the Trap Joe. Big up for sure.
All of y'all. Yeah.
Fun part, table math. All right. I know everyone loves math. That's usually math and fun are inseparable. I'm sure. Because this is where we're going to try to actually see a pathway back to the top instead of just hoping rivals fall apart. Obviously, that would be the one of the easiest ways for us to get back there, and for us to just remain, perfect. But let's be honest, 4 losses already, 38 in a 38-game season. We're not going to have 30, like the next 34 games aren't going to be 34 wins or not. Or if you had 4 losses, there wouldn't be 34 wins involved in that. Something else. That's what I'm trying to get across. So we've got a brutal but powerful 5-game run. I saw an article about basically not breaking down, but at least showing us what the run is for all of us for our main competition. Because let's be honest with you, I don't think that most of us have the ideas. Obviously, with the loss today for Bournemouth, they are no longer in the top 4, but I don't think many people have Bournemouth contending for a title. I don't think many have Sunderland competing for a title this year. Let me take a quick look and tell you what the standings are right now. Because they have been adjusted. Man City are now at 2nd place. We remain at 3rd place currently. Sunderland could jump back up to 2nd place with a win tomorrow, by the way. They have to play Everton, right? Tomorrow. Everton's in 15th place right now. But with the win, if Sunderland beats Everton, they will jump back into 2nd place. But right now, it's Arsenal with 25 points, City with 19. We're 7 points behind with 18 points. Bournemouth, we're beating Bournemouth in the seedings because we have a better goal differential. So we are ahead of Bournemouth in 4th place. Then it comes Spurs, who are, you want to talk about a fan base in free fall. Geez, Spurs are pissed. A lot of Spurs fans are definitely pissed off. Chelsea with 17 points as well. They're in 6th place. I said Sunderland, who plays tomorrow. Manchester United have 17 points as well. In eighth, Crystal Palace with 16 points in ninth place. Villa with that loss dropped all the way to 11th place, by the way. We have our next five all comps, by the way. These are all comps for all the three teams I'm going to mention. And I'm going to put it together as, and let's be honest, Arsenal and City are our main competition for this year's let's keep an eye on type teams. So Liverpool's games that we have coming up. So let me see something real quick. I don't know if we have any mods in the chat still. We should. But if the mods are there, definitely keep an eye on it. We might have a troll that just entered the building.
Yeah,
yeah, a troll or a gerbil that has entered the building, whichever you want to talk about. But our next five games are Real Madrid, obviously our Champions League on the 4th. The 9th, we have Manchester City. The 22nd, we have the Premier League game against Forest. Then we go back to Champions League play, but it's a home game, keep in mind, which is good, which is really, really good. We have those two away games that are going to be very difficult. So that's why these two home games in Champions League are incredibly important. PSV, we've got to annihilate, by the way. We've got to really they made it interesting
100%.
With a team with a rotated B team. We need to absolutely hammer PSV. And then we have West Ham, who just won today. And let's not get it twisted, because Newcastle fans out there, I know I noticed that Morgan Blade's not in the chat today, or at least he hasn't said hello like he normally does. And we have some nice, very nice Newcastle fans that join us on this channel, but they got absolutely embarrassed by West Ham today, because West Ham's a team that has shown very poor form lately, and just haven't done it. But that game is away, and we can't do what. The reason why I brought up the Newcastle game is because we can't do what Newcastle did today, and that is play to West Ham. There's no way Newcastle should have lost against West Ham, and they've got more talent. They're a better team. Some would say even better coached. And today, 3-1 loss. They looked poor. West Ham deserved that win, by the way. That was a good game for West Ham. And it could have been very much easily the other way, because West Ham initially came out. Bowen had an absolute rocket of a shot. That thing, I don't know how it stayed out, but it hit the post, bounced out, and literally seconds later, Newcastle drove down the pitch and scored. And when I was watching that, I was like, oh, here we go. This is going to get ugly. And it didn't. West Ham prevailed. But this is spicy. This is a show me who you are run, I think, this next five. Madrid at home, City away. That's a mentality test. And Forest, PSV, West Ham, that's where you cash in on some, on some teams that are not your level, and we can't play to their level. If we come through the stretch, 4 wins, 1 draw, especially if that draw is at maybe the Etihad, we absolutely are in the title conversation by December. Do you agree, maybe? Or Alante, what do you see? That 5-game stretch.
What is 4 wins in a draw? Yeah, 4 wins in a draw. That's what it's got to be.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I'll be okay with that. Yeah. If you obviously win the others, then yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy. I think we might. Then we could say, okay, we can actually contemplate.
You're not going mad. You're going mad.
Yeah, contemplate it. I'm not screaming from the top of the mountain, but because Arsenal's next games are Slavia Prague, which they could easily get some type of confidence from. Maybe get some of their goal scorers scoring. Then they have Sunderland away. Not going to be an easy game. Sunderland away is not going to be an easy game. They then have Tottenham at home. Now, if that was at Tottenham, be a different story. But I am going to make a bold statement and say that Spurs are going to make something of that match. Because Spurs recognize the fact that beating Arsenal is looked at the same way Manchester United looks at beating Liverpool is. And I say that with all honesty. Who was that? What'd you say, Nolate? Oh. Oh, your mic's on, but yeah. It's not coming. Yeah, you're getting a little bit choppy.
Yeah, they need to win. They need to win against the enemy.
Yeah, they need it. They need it. If Spurs are going to make any push this season, a win over Arsenal can propel them on to at least having the bit of confidence to go on and actually make a run this year. If they lose to Arsenal, I think that'll be that's like losing 2 games in one. Bayern Munich at home for Arsenal at the Emirates. Bayern Munich at the Emirates. Lucho. Let's hear it. Let's have a little Harry Kane and Lucho performance in that one. Be great to see. And then they have Chelsea away. Those are 5 games where I'd say 4 of them are not guaranteed W's for Arsenal. It is sneaky hard, I guess is the word. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I'm making it one. It is sneaky hard. Not because every team is some elite team. Sunderland isn't some elite team. Okay, Tottenham are far from elite team this year. Okay, Chelsea even so. Some might say yes, some might say no, but Chelsea aren't necessarily elite teams. Then I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, but they beat you 12." Yeah. I get it, but they beat us at the Bridge, which is where Arsenal have to go and play. It's because it's travel, it's derbies, it's heavyweights. It's a heavyweight. That's mentally draining. What is your best expect? I know I'm not going to say, oh yeah, of course we want them to go 0-5 in that run, but they're not. What's your best expectations that you think Arsenal can get out of that next 5 games they have there?
I don't know 12, and I don't care. I'm focused about us.
All right. Well, I'm thinking that Slavia Prague's a win. I'm thinking Sunderland away. I think Sunderland away could be a wake-up call game. That this is not going to be, you haven't won the league yet. I'm not saying that Sunderland's going to beat them, but I am saying I am going to go as far as to say Sunderland will will put in a real effort. So maybe you have a win, maybe you have a draw at Sunderland. That Spurs game, they have to win that game. I think that they probably will win that game. But I'm going to go as bold to say that Spurs get some type of result in that game. The Bayern Munich game, they lose. You can say all you want about Arsenal's defense. You say all you want about set pieces and the likes, but Bayern Munich are moving at a different speed rate this year when it comes to being offensively copacetic. And that Chelsea game, oof. Maybe I'd like to say Chelsea could get a result there. But you could see them going maybe in that run, having 2 draws, a loss, and 2 wins. So go 2-2-1. Or 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. Arsenal's run is weird, but I think the team that's been going under the radar this year, a team that loves the fact they're going under the radar, team that's just riding the Holland train when it comes to goals, getting them results. I'll ask you this, Nolante. I'll ask the chat the same question. Can you name me the second highest goal scorer on Manchester City? Can you name the second highest goal scorer for Manchester City?
That's going to be Foden or Doku.
Foden or Doku? Okay. Let's see if anyone in the chat knows. Who has the second most goals for Manchester City? Vardiol, Doku, or Foden? Let's see. Anyone else want to take a guess at this one in the chat?
Come on, chat.
Let's see.
Trap Joe.
I know.
Let's go. Come on.
You guys all love a little bit of trivia. Let's see. Nope, it's not Marmouche. KJ saying, I'm sure as a defender. Okay. I don't know who that is. Big Steph's said it the other day. Oh, Big Steve. Okay. Big Steve. Big Steve.
6'6". Yeah.
You know why you probably can't remember who he said? Because he's correct. It is a defender. I'll give you that clue. You want to take a quick guess?
Oh.
Who is the second leading scorer on City? Or second leading goal scorer for Manchester City?
Is it O'Reilly?
O'Reilly scored today, actually.
Even though technically he's not defender, but he's playing there.
Yeah, he is. He did score. But it was his first goal.
Okay, so he's not him. Okay. Oh.
All right, I'll just tell you guys, because I am being a little bit, I may be being a little unfair, because it is a little bit of a trick question. Manchester City's number 2, or the person who has the second most goals for Manchester City is Burnley defender Maxime Esteve, because he scored 2 own goals against Manchester City in a September 27, 2005 match. He's the 6th player in Premier League history to score 2 own goals in a single game, and is currently the second leading scorer for Manchester City.
Trick question. Wow.
So tell Big Steve to hold on to that. How about that? He'll say, "Oh, I got, we've got the best striker in the world." Blah blah blah. We get it. Haaland is a beast. But Haaland, when he slid into that post, I'm sure every Manchester City player or fan was holding their breath. I think Haaland scores, I think the rate, someone can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong on this, but I think the rate of goals for Manchester City this year, Haaland scores 65% of all their goals. 65% of all Manchester City's goals are scored by Erling Haaland. Oh, he did. He said that's the best. Okay. That's kind of wild. He's sitting there talking about the second leading scorer on his team as with chest, probably, because he says everything with chest. And it's a guy on a Burnley team who scored 2 own goals. That's the second leading scorer on your team. That's wild. Absolutely wild. All right. Well, then Manchester City have Bournemouth at home. Obviously, we saw that game today. They have Dortmund. They have us. All home games, 3 home games. Then they have Newcastle away. Then they have Bayern Leverkusen at home. I honestly don't think that City will lose really mostly any of those games. Obviously, I'm hoping that they lose our match with them at the Etihad. Even that's a stretch, though. And I think that Newcastle away game is going to be a very, very important game for not only Newcastle, because Newcastle has dropped dramatically in the standings, and they need a win. And they've got to and it's difficult to play at Newcastle, and it is, and it's not something that they can look over. They have to look at that game as being a watershed as to whether they're going to have a real run at top 4. I don't think Newcastle is going to be looking at obviously not going to be looking at the league and winning the league at all, but they've got to recognize the fact that Newcastle, you're not winning Champions League, Newcastle. Sorry to say that. And if there's anything, and you don't get extra points for making it deep, you got to win you got to win Champions League to get automatic qualification to get into Champions League. So with that said, the only way they're getting Champions League next year is by getting in the top 4, if not top 5, if we get that credit again this year. And what are they in 10th place, I think, or something like now? Or let me double check here. They're in 13th place currently. So they're going to need some W's on that. They're going to need some W's. So that's going to be a very big game for them. But City is interesting because the first 2 are at home, and they can rack up goals, rotate, come into our game very fresh. I don't think they will rotate for Dortmund that much, but they might rotate a little bit just to prepare for that game against us at home. Then they have Newcastle away, like I said, and Leverkusen. All 3 of these games can take points off of them. But what's my best scenario? My best scenario for us, basically, my friends, my family, my Reds family out there, we beat Madrid, get momentum. We draw City. We stop them from pulling away. Arsenal dropped something in that Spurs game. They dropped something that Bayern – I don't care about the Bayern Munich game because that's Champions League, but they dropped something in Bayern Munich to kind of get their confidence totally shaken and get all these Arsenal fans back to being Arsenal, the typical Arsenal fans that they are. And then they make that Chelsea game really, really, really tense. We win our should-win games, Forest at home, PSV at home. That's how you get back into striking distance without being perfect. And I do not think that we're perfect by any means. The other thing Slot said at the Villa that the fans backing at 0-0 meant a lot because this was a different situation. that tells you the players feel it. So these next 5 aren't just about points, they're about belief. We've got to get not only, I think it's got to be from top to bottom, everyone feeling that vibe. I don't like going into these games being like, I don't think I've ever picked Liverpool to lose a game before going into one. But there have been times, especially lately, where I've been on the verge of saying, yeah, we're probably not winning this game. Simply on form. Got to get that belief back. Our fan base got to get the confidence back. The only way our fan base gets the confidence back is by our team having the confidence to go out there, play well, and win. And you can tell the players feel it. So these next 5 aren't just about points, they're about belief. If we come out in November and touch of the top, then we can have that conversation of, are Liverpool really going to be back? Then we can start talking about it, judging from what the next 5 our opponents do and what we do with our 5. But most importantly, let me make sure that this is underlined, bold print, underlined. You can drop italics on it if you like. We've got to worry about our 5 first. We've got to worry about our 5 first. We've got to have a minimum of 13 points. That's counting UCL, because that's a momentum win. If we beat Real Madrid, let's not get it twisted. We've got to have a minimum of 13 out of 15 points in this next 5 games. You can tell me if you think different. Tell me if you think we need less. Tell me if you think we need. I know KJ. I saw him. He says we need to win all 5 of these games. So he's looking at it as his bar minimum is 15, I guess. If that's your minimum, tell me, what is your minimum that you're going to say that was a good run for us? I'm saying 13 out of 15 has to be the way that we look at it. Or at least that's the way I'm looking at it. That's Arsenal dropping points for Spurs or Chelsea maybe. Again, I don't really care what they do in Champions League, but maybe they draw against Bayern. Maybe they lose against Bayern, thus sapping some of that confidence and air of confidence that they have. City draw against us, hopefully lose. They drop points against Newcastle. The outcome would be we don't just stay in touch. We're within 1 to 3 points of the top going into December. That will be important because we'll be getting players back on the 22nd that can maybe propel us into making the run significant. And KJ's saying that's why he thinks we need 5 out of 5. I understand what you're saying too. I understand it. I just think realistically, a realistic approach to it is keeping us in striking distance, because that striking distance scenario is, let's say we lose to City. I don't want to see that happen, but if it happens, then we have to beat Forest. Then we have to beat PSV. We have to beat West Ham. And then we don't necessarily have to beat Madrid, but it's important that we beat Madrid. There's a lot of different scenarios that really can bring something out for us. I mean, like, there's a lot of different scenarios. Lante's back. What do you think can actually win? What do you think can actually swing the title race for us? What do you think can actually get us back into? What's the main thing you think is that we need to get back in this title race conversation?
Just a simple answer: wins.
Wins.
That's
okay.
It. Wins, yeah, wins and form. That's 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
If them 2 things are not together, then we won't. I mean, I'm being realistic, and I can't stand them Gooners, but if we're gonna actually do a back to back, we can only afford maybe one more loss and then go on a crazy run like we used to do all the time. That's it.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
unfortunately things are clicking for them, and yeah, for one more, if we can only for one more after that. Yeah, so but it's a long hypothetical question. You can only focus in the next game, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what the manager and these boys are made of. Like, as I said, no excuses. I don't care about injury. I don't care about that. It's no excuses. No excuses. Whatever happens end this season.
I agree. No, I agree. I've been saying that basically we cannot be a big club and drop points to mid-table teams. We can't lose. We can't go and lose to a Brentford. We can't drop points against teams like all due respect, but we can't go and drop points like that. Simply can't. Can't drop points to Manchester United. We can't drop points to. Don't get it wrong. Don't take this wrong, because I know Crystal Palace has our name or has our number this year. We can't drop points to Crystal Palace. They still have to come to Anfield again to play us, and they'll be playing a much more senior squad this time. However, we can't lose to Crystal Palace. They're a mid-table team. Mid-table on the verge of being top of the table. But we can't lose to mid-table teams. That's been our problem. City dropped the Newcastle sometimes. That we can possibly, hope for. Arsenal dropped to Chelsea sometimes. That we can actually hope for. We can't lose to Brentford. We can't lose to West Ham. And that's West Ham away. We can't lose. We can't lose on the road to those teams. Some might think that Anfield could be still the final variable that gets us over the top against those teams at Anfield, but on the road, we cannot lose to teams like that, because that's how we fell to the spot we're in now. You beat the teams around 10th to 14th. That's where Liverpool have wasted energy this season, and we can't waste. We've already expelled all the energy we can with doing that. We need to take something off City. The teams we need to beat are Manchester City and Arsenal. I know we have to play Arsenal at the Emirates. I know we have to play City at the Etihad. If we can take points away from them at their home ground, we can get back into this conversation. And I even will take a draw at Etihad, because let's not get it twisted. City is very difficult to beat at the Etihad, much less get a draw at the Etihad. And then the final component, get our players back. And I'm talking about, all due respect to Marmar Dashvili, because Marmar, you're going to have to get us through this run and hold it down between the sticks. However, I can't wait for Ali to be healthy and be back as our shot stopper, because he's our number one. I can't wait to possibly see the production be at our feet again, of having Isak and Ekitike as possibly the two strikers that play together on our attack. I'm very, very looking forward to Frimpong finally getting a run and hopefully being well rested enough that he doesn't have issues with his hamstrings any longer going forward from this point.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, because this ain't a joke, Mr. Cujo or Kojo. Cujo for Kojo. I can't wait for Curtis Jones to help bring back some real
Kojo,
semblance
yeah.
of being able to provide relief to our midfield, to provide rotation for our midfield, to provide sometimes a necessary need of being able to control the ball, to be able to, be a link man, being passing and the likes. Curtis Jones has been that this year. I'm hoping we can get it back by November 22nd. And then maybe, cross your fingers, maybe we do bring in a January signing. Because bringing back those 4 players is like bringing in 4 January signings in November. You feel me, Alante, on that one or no?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Those are 4 players we've barely seen play all year, except for maybe Curtis Jones. And now those players will be back by the 22nd. That'll be like getting 4 players back, or getting 4 players in the window. Which of these, I'm going to ask these questions before we wrap it up here. Which of the next 5 games do you think is the most important for Liverpool? What's the most important game out of the next 5? For you, at least. Is it the glamour tie? Is it versus Madrid? Is it the City game? Is it maybe the league game versus Forest? Because that could be again, or maybe it's Manchester, or maybe it's West Ham on the road. Because we've played miserable on away games, no matter what team we're facing. We've had some problem with Forest, albeit it's not the Forest of last year, but it is a league game and it's an important game. And that could be a game where if we drop points, it'll be us dropping points to a team we should have beat again and at home this time. Or is it Madrid? Or is it City? What game for you? Because PSV is a different story. But out of those 5 games, what game is the most important to you in the latte?
Yeah, like the guy said in the chat, the City game. That's going to tell us a lot of things, that game. Where we're going to go. So, yeah, I would say that.
City? Okay. Do you honestly think Arnold City? We already went through my ideas or as to what I could foresee happening. Trust me, if I was great at foreseeing what can happen, then I would probably be a lot more wealthier in my life. Picking out accumulators. I think you guys call them over there. Parlays is what we call them over here.
Yeah,
but
accumulators.
Looking at Arsenal and City's schedules, where do you honestly see the best chance of them dropping points? Is there any game that they have that you could possibly see them dropping points? Or it's the next 5 games? I don't care technically, but if you had to put it, what game do you see them dropping points possibly?
Last time I said Fulham, but they seem to sneak to it, so I'd say
Maybe
Chelsea.
Chelsea?
Chelsea,
Away?
yeah, Chelsea, yeah. Spurs, yeah, I think so. My Ghanaian guy, we can hopefully put a dagger there. So I would say that, and I think the Sunderland game will be tricky. You wouldn't have thought, but I think
Extremely tricky. Yep.
yeah. So those 3 for me. Those 3.
Okay. City, different stories. City, their schedule isn't nearly as City again. Bournemouth, Dortmund, us, Newcastle, Bayern Leverkusen at least. I think the only game other than us that they could drop points in is probably that Newcastle away game. So Manchester City have a very favorable schedule in front of them. When it comes to the schedule, they have a very favorable schedule for them going forward. Oh. I had some great pictures and I had some great graphics ready for us and I did not use it all. Show you like this. Right? Liverpool, it's telling you. That's what the Premier League's pushing. Liverpool are back. rocking and rolling. Mm-mm-mm. We'll see, people. We shall see. We shall see. A lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done. The good news is the league hasn't run away from us yet. We made it harder for us, definitely. We made it a lot harder than we needed to make it, to be honest with you. But we didn't get cut adrift. We were fortunate to have a good start to the season where we were winning games that we could have drawn or possibly even lost in occasions. But one good month, one healthy squad, and results like the Villa game become maybe a normality as opposed to a rarity. And suddenly the question, are Liverpool back, will sound a whole lot less sarcastic than it does right now. Oh, man. Getting 2.0 vibes when you saw. Oh, yeah. I feel you on that. Well, Ante, anything you wanted to get off your chest before we bounce out? Any subjects you wanted to bring up or anything you want to talk about? Questions you wanted to take on? Oh, let me see this one. Hyler asked earlier, our midfield three in Gravy, Szoboszlai, McAllister is our core, our main central nuclear reactor. So why don't we have a single one-for-one sub for these players? I kind of think we do, to be honest with you. I think where we could find some one-for-one, it would change up the scenario in our midfield, obviously, if you sub in an Endo for any of the three or whoever's playing in that pivot, of course, because he's more of a defensive-minded player than he is a player that you're going to use for going forward. But there are players that could be – I mean, a lot of what Gravy brings in the sense of being able to control the ball, being able to progress it from box to box, you get out of Curtis. I'm not saying he's as good defensively as Gravy, but you do get a lot of that control from Curtis that you're looking for from Gravy. Dominik Szoboszlai at the 10. Okay, you don't have a player that like for like is going to be replaceable, but if you're going to play Dominik Szoboszlai as that workhorse 10, fantastic. I like to have the option of playing that Florian Wirtz as a 10 to be an alternative, to be the creative, artistic version of the 10, the more palatable, more recognizable version of the 10 that a lot of us think of when we think of the 10. And then for McAllister, McAllister's an interesting switch up because I'm still trying to figure out where McAllister is going to fit in this team this year. So I will admit, McAllister's a little bit more difficult for a one-for-one, but if I was going to bring on someone for McAllister, I'd bring on Endo because I would want to just lock it down as opposed to try to figure out a way to continue going forward. Endo could be another complement to that. That's just my opinion. You there in the latte? Just double checking.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Different priorities, yeah. I get what you're saying. Our midfield is rampant. Like I keep telling people, I don't know we're rampant unless we sell. Our midfield is rampant.
Yeah,
It's just some we're not used than others. Yeah.
I was just saying, don't get me wrong. It would have been nice to have a Tyler Morton this year, especially the way he's playing in France, to be able to say, let's figure out a way to start implementing him into the system, or at least for the midfield, at least. I'm not really married to Chiesa playing in the midfield for us, but I guess you could put him in the midfield if you really, really wanted to.
No, you couldn't. No, that's a horrible idea. No. That's desperation. No. 12. That conversation should be null and void. No.
Null and void. All right,
Null
you
and
heard
void.
it, guys.
Null and void.
Who else is? I'm trying to think for the rest of because like Neone, I mean, he's just a youth player. So Steven Bichetti, he needs to get healthy to even be a real consideration. I think that's pretty much all our midfielders, even though some of our midfielders are listed as midfielders, even though they're not midfielders. Like Frimpong's listed as a midfielder, but he's not really a midfielder. He's playing right back for us. Nolante, again, tell us what you want to say before we wrap this up, because I got through all the questions that were laid on us. Anything you want to say? I mean, like, this was my man of the match, by the way, too. I already said it. He was the Carlsbad man of the match. Dominik Szoboszlai. I want to see some of the Bajan Reds crew, at least some of their not fan base, but like some of the people that are vocal in their chat. I'm not going to name names, even because some of the names are part of my Capri Sun.
I'm naming them.
But I want to see them. They might have to get a Dominik Szoboszlai kit this year. I want to see them do that to make amends for some of the absolute craziness they were spitting about this guy. I want to see Monts get that name. I will say. I want to see Monts get a Dominik Szoboszlai kit. He's got to get a number 8 Dominik Szoboszlai. Wear it loud and proud on your watch-alongs as you watch one of the best players on our team currently. Anything, though?
Okay, when you take me for, I'm never gonna. That's too much there, Mickey. I would ban you from YouTube for that last comment.
Oh man, people, we're gonna do we're going to do a preview tomorrow for this game, plus give you a little bit of team news, team talk, as we'd like to do. It won't be all just a preview for the for the Real Madrid game on Tuesday. It'll be a little bit about some interesting stories that are in. You know how this game was going to be. There's going to be a lot of like puff pieces, but there's going to be some stories that take some wild angles. You're going to hear some takes from some people that are just maybe clickbait-ish. But we're going to do the best to navigate all that crap and try to bring you some decent stories for the lead up into this Champions League game, and also just the state of our team and maybe some updates that we hear about our team going forward into this game, which is going to be a very big game. Very big game. I'm most likely going to go, since it's a Champions League game and it's during those games tend to be under the lights, I'm going to be most likely going down to my supporter pub. So shout out to Crown Public House. They don't sponsor me, so I'm not getting paid to say that. Okay. But that is the spot. If you want to join me here and watch the game with us, you're more than welcome. You can tell them that I sent you. They'll love that. Yeah. What's going on with No. Oh, he hasn't closed. He's not even close. He hasn't taken that L. Mons will never take an L on any of those things.
Yeah, he won't. Call him out and grab up gravy.
Yeah, he'll just keep digging that hole deeper and deeper. He does not care.
Remember when the 2 games he thought he's vindicated with the silver right back Colombia, but now, he ain't taking it off.
He ain't not taking
it for gravy. Remember that KJ gravy, you know?
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Absolutely. He's not going to take
some of these content creators. Listen.
That's the thing. Tell him, Nolante. These content creators, hold them accountable. you might
listen,
hear
Paul.
me. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, so Paul is nice. He's sort of, I'm direct. I will go on there. I will name names. I will confront them. You know
Oh yeah,
me.
he doesn't
I
worry
don't
about
play.
it. Yeah.
I don't
There's
play.
no shame in the game because I'm allowed to
And
name things.
listen, I will name names. I don't care. Listen, I'm straightforward, man. That's how I've been brought up. You know what I mean? But listen, let me tell you something, KJ. There was that. Come on, Irishman show tomorrow because I'll be upsetting the apple cart with some
Yeah,
endo talk.
no, it's
Because
interesting.
Reverend, yes, exactly. The
It's
Japanese
interesting.
warrior, yeah.
That's what they do, man. Some of them aren't even content creators. Some of them are just like people in the chat. I get that, and you're going to come across a lot of wild takes sometimes with some of the people in the chat because you don't know who you're talking to. So for most of the time, the OGs you do because you get it. You create like some type of like relationship with the people in your chats a lot of times because they're the ones they're the day ones. You know, they show up. They're engaging. They care about your health. You care about their health as well. You know, you're actually invested in each other. But then there's sometimes some of these takes are just so wild. And
Yeah.
trust me. You know, one of the major reasons why I got involved in two of the reasons why I got involved in content creation was this. One is because I used to watch the Football Terrace a lot, and the people that we had representing Liverpool on the Football Terrace made me want to stop watching YouTube. It made me feel bad about our team. It made me feel like, do these people even like us? Much less like me for being a supporter, but much less like our team. Because some of the takes that they would take were absolutely off the wall
Wow, yeah.
and
Because
it was all hate, like self-hate speeches. 9 times out of 10, self-hate speeches. And then the other reason is also because when we do get into familiar grounds in our communities, it's interesting because some people will, because KJ can back me up. I know that Nalati can back me up verbally here, but KJ can too. This is one of the reasons why KJ and I became good friends, and that's because KJ and I we were recognizing that Endo could play a part in this team, and rather than just accept the fact of Endo maybe being able to contribute in one way or another, whichever way he could, you know, we weren't going to take this extreme stance the way a lot of Liverpool fans were taking when we originally transferred for Endo. People were taking this.
right.
Liverpool's not a serious club because they went after Endo. Liverpool doesn't understand the fact that he's a journeyman, or Liverpool Endo's not Liverpool quality. All these different things. Yet Endo went on to prove to recognize that he carries so many great Liverpool qualities, despite not being Mr. World-class level player, some red Galactico. And that's all we were trying to get across. But when you're conducting these conversations, people want to take those off-the-wall, super extreme, sometimes super negative, and oftentimes, unfortunately, super disrespectful takes on these players. Things they would never say to the player's face, ever. And that's why I got involved into a lot of this stuff, is because I remember a lot of the times I'm that guy that keeps receipts on people. Because people keep receipts on me. People want to talk about my takes. They want to talk about like whatever prediction I make that doesn't necessarily pan out the way it does. They want to be first to jump on it and make sure that you know that I said that and I was wrong. But they never really want to say when you're right. Notice that. They never want to say the part and points when they start saying a take you said last year or months ago. And now all of a sudden, they're running to the front as if it's their original take. That kind of sentiment I'm not down for. There's plenty of statements I've heard in our chat that I'm on other shows, or even this show especially, but I'm on other shows, and I'll call out their names and say they made a great point, or this person said this on my show, and they need to be given props. Because that's called game recognizing game. You don't get it too often on a lot of these channels. Just a lot of people just spouting off dumb stuff. And then they hope that you forget about it. They hope enough time will pass. They do to Manchester City. What Manchester City's doing with the 115. They say, you know what? I spent all this money on this BS. And now I'm just going to wait and hope that everyone forgets about it. And then eventually I'll come back with the completely opposite take. And that's the take I'll take because now it's relevant. That's what really gets to me. So trust me, if you guys are in the chat, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your takes. You know, if you say things that hit, if you say things that are well placed in what you have to say, trust me, I'm not only going to give you props on my channel. If I have the blessing of being on other people's channels or such, and it's relevant to what we're saying, I'm going to be like, and it's not my original idea, especially, I'm going to make sure that I give credit to where credit's due. That's how I do it. I hope that you guys start doing that too, with what Nolante says, with what I said. Like, you know, Nolante's been calling out for rotation for this team from the gate. And now people are finally starting to see it. That's the recognition. That's the kind of the recognition that I would like to see us do more of in our fan base. It's just give proper props, proper respect due to those real soldiers out there. And you guys are those soldiers, by the way, too. Trust me on that. I appreciate each and every one of you OGs out there. Lante, I put the soapbox for you to step on and say your thing, and then I jumped on the soapbox before. So I'll leave you the last word. Anything you want to say?
Oh yeah, I got 3 points. Oh yes, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Yes, don't go anywhere. Listen, I won't be able to go on this channel tomorrow. Oh god damn! Actually, KJ cancelled the Irish Finish channel tomorrow, man. I won't be able to jump on, unfortunately.
Okay.
I won't be able to jump up on, but we'll see is 12th. I'll tell you, man, you're getting good coolness, man. But again, listen, we're disrupting the industry. Yeah. 12th, we're disrupting the space because these guys are. This way, these guys are shook. You know what I mean? They don't want the realness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we are disrupting the space. You know what I mean? And listen, we've all had discussions in it. Some of us we disagree, but listen, we keep it 100% in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one takes over here from me in 12th. You know what I mean? Everyone is, roller cooks in the room to a certain extent. You know, like I said, I will be the next time. And the next time I'll go on the Irish Mesh channel, be ready for that case. I'll let you guys know. Be ready for the endo talk because I'm gonna upset Brian, Rev Knight. God bless them. I'm gonna get them into meltdown with some endo talk. You wait. Believe me. I've got the cooking.
I remember
I'm still the cooking, ladies and gentlemen.
You got to bring
I'm
up
gonna upset them.
Endo. Wait, Nolante, if you bring up Endo, please bring up some takes. I'm not going to say who had these takes, but bring up Chiesa.
Oh yeah.
Bring up Chiesa, Mister. There were some people that had takes out there that Chiesa was one already gone from this team. 2, he had nothing to really bring to this team. Obviously, because the coach wasn't playing him. And 3, bring up the fact that Chiesa actually was, for some people, a waste of money.
All good. Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Yeah. Oh, believe me, don't worry. I've got fireworks. Like
fireworks. I want to say fireworks.
Oh, don't worry. Oh, believe me, Tom, man. The Jerry Jones, the Ends, Carl, everyone, listen. Talk, show me the receipts. Oh,
Yeah,
believe me. Oh, I've got receipts for all of them. Months. These people put us on, but they're scared. They're shook. Why not? Come on, debate with us. We
yeah,
not bite. Big up, right, and keep on. Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Big up
Much
everyone subscribing to 12. You
best,
know what I mean?
best wishes for the things going on with your family. I hope that everything's working out
Oh,
and for the best.
oh yeah. Sorry to hear that. Oh, sorry to hear that. You know,
Yeah,
big up yourself.
I know. We're gonna probably push out here because I know that the signal for him is a little bit Malante. He's like, there's like
Yeah.
work
Okay.
zones or something going on. But
No, no, I'm walking to my house. No, I'm
I
walking to my house.
oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
yeah, you know.
been on Football Terrace, by the way. I've been on the Football Terrace not as a panelist, but I have been on the Football Terrace for call-ins. He used to do call-ins, and I actually was on a couple of his call-ins, or like 2 or 3 call-ins for him. But yeah, I'm hopeful. The only way I get on those things, the only way I ever get the shout to be maybe that different voice of reason on those shows is when you guys in the chat mention something about it, you know. So if you're on there, or if there's if there's someone's talking some straight garbage and you know that they are, you know, it's what we're here for, man. That's why we are all the 12th man. So that's how I see it. We're all the 12th man.
We
So,
are.
so big
Yeah,
ups, everyone.
big up. Tyler, I ain't do no marathon. Believe me, I'm walking. Believe me. Listen, man, I'm walking. Listen, it's cold out here. It's late. It's late at night time, 12. And let me just say this, Tyler. And again, I'm going to mention this. And Tyler, you know what I'm talking about on Bryce Channel. You've got idiots like Christian.
Ooh,
Again, idiots like Christian, yeah? And let me tell you something, World 12.
I don't know some of
Let
these
me,
people, so I can't
no,
speak. I can't say yes or no.
no. This is on Brian's channel because you know a lot. Some of them are crazy with their takes and oh, I know everything.com. But let me tell you
Oh,
things. Look, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we were discussing Mo's form, and he ain't been great. You know what I've said, but I said, listen, there's reasons his form's not been poor, and Jota's, death. He was close to him. He's still taking an effect. Because as me and you both, we all know everyone agrees with that differently. And guess what this guy said? He goes, oh, that doesn't matter. It's not an excuse. Alisson's dad died. He didn't play badly. I was thinking, what an idiot. Man is dismissing, a guy is dismissing someone's death.
horrible.
Everyone takes exactly. And this is what I'm saying. These are the idiots we have to deal with, ladies and gentlemen. This is the online fools that we have to deal with. You get me? People like yourself, Tyler, I can have a discussion with him. Do you disagree? KJ, Norm's a legend. Norm can chat to anyone because I'll go
He's
to the games if I can. He goes there regularly. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
he's
You know what I mean?
streets.
He's
Yeah,
the OG. Yeah, Norm is the OG. You know what I mean? I wish Norm you would come on, but I understand Norm. But you see, these are the ears we have to do now. Again, and ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this as well before we close, because don't worry, I'm keeping the line cooking now. And I asked the chat, and 12, you can answer this. Now, we can all disagree with Arne Slot's decision tactics, and you can say Slot out because certain tactics or his managerial decisions. But ladies and gentlemen, the chat, please ask me this. Let me this. If people online are saying that he's a bum and he's a clueless manager, is that not personal? Yes or no?
yeah,
I
yeah. I
just
get
I
it.
just want to know, ladies and gentlemen, chat. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
And
Can you answer that for me? If
no,
you're going to, sorry, you're gonna elaborate. Go on.
no, I was gonna say he's not a bum, absolutely,
Yeah.
and Emmy too. What I've been trying to emphasize, I said this on another episode too.
Mhm.
When it comes to
Oh, my
I
phone's
mean,
gone.
and we all deal with loss in our own different ways, okay? And I was trying to emphasize the fact that I've had some incredible losses in my life. I personally, like as in personal, very obviously close members of my family passed away recently, and it is I went into a lot about how you could feel like you're back, and then it's just maybe a song that hits that is on the radio, or maybe it's like, I don't know, a movie that you guys that makes a connection, or as a reference, or something someone says, or a certain thing that happens. Or it could be the simple thing of, you know what, sometimes it's nice to have those friends around that can get you back into the right spirits, that can get you back into the right state of mind. That's what I was trying to get across, is that I'm not saying that we should use, that they should be able to use Jota's passing as an excuse, but I'm saying that could be some factor in them being able to navigate figuring out how to get everything right. Sometimes you don't think fully, and you're not, your head's not clear, simply because you start to get depressed, or you start to get layered into some of the thoughts of, yeah, what was one way that I could, like, you know, after a bad game, for instance, maybe this is just a circumstance, but maybe one day after a bad game that you have, you know what, you go out for maybe drinks with your buddy, you know, your friend, or maybe not necessarily drinks for when it comes to Salah and Jota, but I mean, like, maybe it's, you know, you there's some joke, like as a joke that he tells you, kind of like makes you kind of forget about it, and it just picks up your spirits. That entity is no longer physically there, and sometimes for some of us, some of us are living this experience vicariously. But I am saying that some people can say it through empathy. I'm saying it through the fact that I have sympathy, because I know what it's like to go through losing someone that you genuinely love. And despite the fact that you might be days, months, weeks, years, whatever, beyond the loss, sometimes, it really hits hard and heavy. And sometimes, especially, this is just my perspective again, sometimes when you are in that low place, if you are in that, things aren't working out for you and things aren't going well for you and the likes, that's sometimes when those other things sink in. It might not be you're in that low place because of the loss, but then that's when even that starts to manifest itself into the equations of how do you get out of this sunken place. And it's not easy. Sometimes finding that way. It's why people have therapists, why people have, why people go to, sessions and the like, to try to work their way out of loss or the navigation of a loss. I'm gonna keep it 100. There's a living shrine to Jota in the locker room. Every time they're on the pitch, they're singing his name in the 20th minute of every game. There's no escaping the fact that you will always have a memory there of your friend, of your loved one. And despite the fact that you want it to be a positive one, sometimes you just think about the fact that you wish that they were there. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you wish that person was physically there with you, because the loss does have some real psychological toll on us. And you can say, you're good, I'm okay, or, oh, I know it's been weeks, it's been months, and this and that. Sometimes it's just weird. It's just sometimes it just works out that way, in that it'll make it difficult to navigate. It'll make you being your best sometimes that much more harder to get back to, because that is still lingering. Maybe that's all I was trying to get across, and it will linger for quite some time, because everywhere we go, we're reminded of there's memories, and properly so too. By the way, there's some really beautiful shows of sympathy by clubs that recognize the loss and the importance of recognizing that we can all have some compassion in this game for some things. So, but it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse at all. It's just more of just it's a part of it all. That's all I'm saying. It's not an excuse. Again, yeah.
Oh, good. Big up, Redbirds. Yeah, I guess something's with your phone. Don't worry. I get cussed when I'm walking. I've got my wireless pods from swimming, etc. So don't you worry about it, Redbird. But yeah, sorry, because my phone cut out. So my battery died. So I just dropped it in the house.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say anyway. Sorry, I know I was just on flow, but again, this is my point. So you guys can understand it. Like I said, we like again. These somebody and again, big up the Irishman, and obviously he's doing great things. So, but him and other these are the idiots you go to do. They're saying, "Oh, you can't have an opinion now." No one's saying have opinion. None of us are sitting here saying, "Oh, Slot's perfect." We've all criticised his tactics, some of his quotes, but when you say he's a bored manager and he's a fraud, he's clueless. Again, some of this stuff on some of the branch. All I'm asking is where is your bad license? Just tell me where's your qualification? FA1, 2, FA2 coaching badge qualification for you to tell me you getting personal. He's bored and he's a fraud manager. He's clueless. Where is it? That's why I keep telling. And I wait, but he say, "Oh." But again, you can't speak to people that don't logically think. They're like, "Oh, I can't have an opinion." It's not about having an opinion. You can, but why are you getting personal? Who are you to say he's clueless? He's won what he's won. But again, there's always you never please people because it's club side, etc. So this is the society we have to deal with on channels. This is and like I said, I'm blunt. And I'm good at I don't mind debating, but these are the idiots we have to deal with. Some of them, not all, some of them. You know what I mean? They're just common sense. And I'll leave it as this. Look, I support Liverpool. I support Liverpool all my life, like all we have, whether you're 20, 30, 40, however you're old, 50s, etc. But some people get emotional, way over emotional, that they take them to heart. And you shouldn't, because at the end of the day, as much as I support Liverpool, my family comes over Liverpool Football Club. My son's progression in life, my twins' progression in life comes over Liverpool Football Club, and it always will. Because they're immediate. I like the club, but the club are not going to help me when I'm in the bed, are they? At times. Or someone's going through a situation. And that's what some of it, and then again, some people say, "No, you don't." I said, "No, I like Liverpool. Yeah, I get disappointed when we lose, but it doesn't affect me because life goes on. The next day goes on, and the next day, whether you to do with kids, whether it's to do with work. I would want my kids to do the best in life. It comes over Liverpool FC Football Club. Liverpool's a football team I support. And that's it. Sometimes people understand sometimes as much as you support football, there's more to life, So, yeah, there you go.
There you go. Well, I hope that we continue to support each other. I hope that, if there's if there's no sympathy because you haven't maybe lived through something like that, maybe you can have a little empathy to understand that there's always something. They're going through things. Some of us in the chat, shout out to Redbird. I know he just mentioned that he's going through things with his own family. It's called it's just a matter of just showing a little compassion, just a little bit of love, and just understanding and support. That's the most that we could ask for. And I'm hoping that we continue to show those aspects of our community. I hope that we can continue to show those angles in our community. But yeah. Okay. I don't know what that means. Liverpool could become the first team in Premier League history to win the title twice in the same season. I don't know what that means. But yeah. let's give a shout out for each and every one of you for showing the love to rock with us today. Let's see. Look, Emmy, join us tomorrow. I will have a piece on Verts. I'll be sure to make sure that I include the segment tomorrow on Verts, just for you too, especially for you, I should say, because you're right. No, we haven't signed Ashiman yet. Shout out to K-Mac.
I love Dom. Love is a legend. He's a OG.
We haven't signed
Dom,
him.
save that next time when the back is on, yeah?
Yeah. We haven't signed Ashiman, and Endo's still with the team. How about that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll put together something for you because I did do a piece somewhat on a segment on Verts already, but I'll expand it. Tomorrow I'll make sure I'll expand it out for you so you can see what I'm talking about. No, Tyler, you're not timed out, so don't worry about that. Yeah, we'll get it going on tomorrow because like Verts is gonna be big for us tomorrow, people. Verts, trust me. I don't know if you're gonna say you probably are hearing it here first, but Champions League is going to be delivered by Florian Wirtz being the player that we all envision him to be or can be. Mark my words on that. Mark my words. And I'm sure you will. Just like that's a receipt to be held by some people that will certainly come back to try to bite me on it. Hey, do it. I'm just saying, remember, we all say things. We all say things and we see how they work out. People, tomorrow, we will catch you tomorrow. I'll try to get the show on a little bit earlier so we don't miss out on some of the people that have to go to work or some people that are coming home from work, like Malante or something. So until tomorrow, look, people, hold your heads up. Walk proud as a champion because you are champions, okay? And always remember, you'll never walk alone should mean something because that's what the Reds community should be all about. Bigging up your brothers and sisters in the Reds community, lifting us up, not tearing us down. If you're going to do that, hey, you're going to get called out for it. So, but until tomorrow, peace and blessings. And I will always say this: up the Reds each and every time. Peace.
Big up, everyone. Peace.